I don't. I'm just reading. Um, Salam alaikum, everyone. Um, if you don't know me, which is probably not the case, my name is Moira. I'm 14, and my topic is going to be saying what you do not do. Um, so the reason that I chose this topic is very interesting because in my last speech I spoke about being a teenager like in submission, and I told people what not to do and like what to stay away from. But at the time I was going through something myself and it was very difficult for me, and I was upset because I didn't understand like why I was going through the things that I was going through, and it caused me to object, and I had a lot of mixed emotions. I talked to my family in submission about it, and God gave me amazing advice through everybody. One of the verses that I mentioned last year in my old speech was Surah 3, verse 160. If God supports you, none can defeat you, and if he abandons you, who else can support you? In God, the believer shall trust. So instead of objecting, I should have understood that God controls everything and He controls what happens in your life and puts you in the family that He knows is right for you, because He knows the weaknesses that you have, and He knows what's going to test you, and what weaknesses it can bring out of you. Um Here's something Rashad said in God is Doing Everything Part 1. God is running everything, should dominate your life, even mentally. The world will look different to you. You'll get reminded not to object this way. So, at the time, I wasn't thinking about how God knows best and how He planned it out that way for a reason. That was one of my weaknesses, and I didn't trust in God in that time. It's been a year. A lot has happened, and by God's grace, I have learned from it, and I'm growing every day, mashallah. I'm going to read Surah 8, verse 17. It was not you who killed them. God is the one who killed them. It was not you who threw when you threw. God is the one who threw. But he thus gives the believers a chance to earn a lot of credit. God is here omniscient. Now I'm going to read the footnote. Believing in God necessitates believing in his qualities, one of which is that he is doing everything. Without knowing God, there is no belief. Surah 20, Surah 23, verse 84 to 90. Bad things are incurred by us and executed by Satan in accordance with God's laws. See Surah 4, verse 78 to 79, and Surah 42, verse 30. Okay, so saying what you do not do is not what you should do as a submitter. Mashallah, everything that I said in my speech was true, but I felt that because I was objecting at the time, I was being hypocritical, and I realized that by doing that, I was making things worse for myself, and I was only hurting myself. Um, and my speech last year was actually a huge reminder for me, but I never took my own advice. I'm going to read a couple verses, God willing. Um, Nothing bad comes from God. Surah 4, verse 79. Anything good that happens to you is from God, and anything bad that happens to you is from you. We have sent you as a messenger to the people, and God suffices as a witness. And Surah 61, verse 2. O you who believe, why do you say what you do not do? Verse 3. Most abominable in the sight of God is what you say what you do not do. And Surah 7, verse 55. You shall worship your Lord publicly and privately. He does not love the transgressors. So, as submitters, we have to set a good example by following through with what we say and following God's laws. And every time we object, every time we don't follow through with what we say or we don't follow God's laws, we are not submitters. And we have to show God that we are, and we have to prove it and lead by example. Your words are meaningless if you don't act on it. I want to set an example for the younger generation and be there for them, just like my bigger siblings and sisters in submission were there for me. Younger submitters or new submitters should be able to look at like the other submitters and say like, wow, God willing, I want to be that good of a submitter, or I want to strive just like them, that the way they strive, by God's grace. That's one of your goals, but more importantly, we do it because we want to please God. Um, I'm going to read a couple verses now. Surah 26, verse 84. Let the example I set for the future generations be a good one. And Surah 23, verse 84. Most believers are destined for hell. Say, to whom belongs the earth and everyone on it, if you know. Um, and then the footnote. Belief in God is valid only if one recognizes God's qualities, such as the fact that God controls everything. Surah 8, verse 17. Believers who do not know God are not really believers. Most believers nullify their belief by idolizing such powerless idols as the prophets and the saints. And then I'm going to read Surah 6, verse 106. Follow what is revealed to you from your Lord. There is no God except He, and disregard the idol worshippers. So, if we truly know that God is our Lord and our Master, and we believe in all His attributes, then we will put dependence on Him and no one else. Satan knows that he can't get us to worship idols like Jesus, Muhammad, or statues, but he will try to get us in other ways. Surah 1 verse I think yeah, Surah 1 verse 5. You alone we worship, you alone we ask for help. Um and then Surah 2 verse 186. God answers the prayers of his servants. When my servants asks about me, I am always near. I answer their prayers when they pray to me, and the people shall respond to me and believe in me in order to be guided. God is with us now, and He sees whatever we are doing, and He tells us to only ask Him for help, and He tells us that we will answer the prayers of the believer. Wait. He tells us that he will answer the prayers of the believers. When you are totally dependent on God and you like when you, like okay when you're totally dependent on God, you will only turn to him even though you can't see him. You know that he's there, and that is a part of believing in the unseen. If we really believe in God, then we will know this 100%. Okay, I'm sorry. Surah 22 verse 15. Happiness now and forever. If anyone thinks that God cannot support him in this life and in the hereafter, let him turn completely to his creator in heaven and sever his dependence on um anyone else. He will then see that this plan eliminates anything that bothers him. God has shown me through this verse that I can depend on him, and that the importance of letting go and trusting in God and knowing that he has got you 100%. The history of the Quran is a great example of how messengers and prophets put dependence only on God. Okay, I'm going to read one more verse. Surah 16, verse 76. And God cites the example of two men. One is dumb, lacks the ability to do anything, is totally dependent on his master. Whichever way he directs him, he cannot produce anything good. Is he equal to one who rules with justice and is guided in the right path? So, God willing, we will all get to the point of putting our total dependence only on him, including myself for everything. If we focus on our submission and we focus on God, and everything around us will be in harmony. Um, that is the end of my speech. Okay.
Thank you, Moira. Mashallah. All right, we're going to go to mummy because we are prioritizing the mummies here.
Oh, I forgot. Okay.
Salam, Moira. I have a question for you.
Okay.
For any submitter your age or anybody going through either teenage or whatever things that you guys go through, what would your advice to them be?
Well, it um I'm it
How would you be there for them?
um I would probably just like give proof from the Quran and like give them verses and like show them how like God is with them and how they can do this in like a Quranic manner.
Any other questions for Moira?
Uh,
At the back.
5 minutes of digging.
At the back, Correct Lane.
At the back. Okay, we have Fernan.
Salam alaikum, Moira. Mashallah, good speech. I have a question for you regarding the speech title in which you were discussing. So I think it is really important when it says the don't say what you do not do. I have kind of two-part question to this. Do you think that if you have a problem with something, but you see someone else is having that problem, do you see that when you say what do not do, you can't give a reminder to them? That's my first question. And then my second part of it is if someone else is doing what they say what they don't do, gives you a reminder, uh, do you still have to like how would you take that?
that's a very deep question.
Yeah,
Um,
I know you could do it.
what was the first question again?
Okay. The first one was if you have that weakness, do you think you can give that reminder?
Oh, okay. Um, well, okay, it wouldn't really be fair. May hold on, give me a second.
Sure.
Um, yes. Um, well, you can look at this differently. Uh, okay, so I think so. I think that I think that when like obviously like I'll give it like maybe like an example like if you're n- not following the dress code or something and then like someone like reminds you that even though they don't follow the dress code and then they remind you to like follow the dress code um um like I think that it's even you can still remind them on that, but just tell them like, "Hey, this is also something I need to work on, and I still need to fix this." So like, I think you could just say that to them because either way, you're still stating a fact and you're still like saying like, "Hey, this is wrong," because it is wrong. But just say like, "Hey, like this is also something that I need to work on," and just so you know, like tell them that. Like, otherwise, like it's just like if you don't tell them, then that's wrong. Um,
That was a really good answer. Mashallah. Okay. Praise God. I can ask my second one too. Okay. Yeah, that's very mashallah wisdom. The second question is what about the other way? Like someone who is kind of like, you don't do what they don't do don't preach what you don't do, right? Or they don't say what you don't do. That person has that weakness and they remind you. How would you respond to that?
um, I would probably say like, um, well, would I like know that they're not doing it?
Yeah, like let's say it's somebody who's close to you and like they like for example, they're always late all the time. And then they get on you and they're like, "Hey, you're late." You know?
Honestly, I don't think that like it does matter, but not in that specific conversation. Because the only reason I say that is because if 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 like for like hmm, so I would be oh, I yeah, I don't think it matters. I think that you should I think that the person that it's still like they're still saying like the right thing and like I think that huh? Yeah. Um I'm sorry. I completely forgot your question mid answer.
Okay. No, I mean, well, you did answer it. You said like, no, I would still listen to the reminder.
Yeah,
So
no.
yeah,
I was trying to explain and then I forgot your question. I'm
it's
sorry.
okay.
Um
Mashallah, Moira. God bless you.
okay. You
MashaAllah.
too.
Well done to Moira. Big hands. MashaAllah. Good. MashaAllah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a public service announcement. Correct Lane, why are you leaving me here on my own?
I didn't realize I have to stand on stage with you every time, but I'm coming.
Yes, it's called co-hosting. Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've had messages from the hotel staff. Yes. We are not allowed to use the bathrooms to do our ablution because some people, unfortunately, have been leaving it in a bit of a state. So when guests are going in there or other submitters, it's like a bit of a swimming pool, but not in a pool area. So what the hotel are going to do, they're going to provide a hose, which is going to be at the back door. What can I say? We asked for it. We asked for it. So there's going to be a hose. If you need to do your ablution, then please use a hose. Please refrain from using the bathroom. So when I was given the information, I did want to start because I'm going to throw myself under the bus. I wanted to start with who uses the bathroom for their ablution, and then you were all going to go. But yeah, I thought I'd not do that. I wouldn't stay
I
consistent.
think most of us are using those bathrooms, but yes. Okay. Fair enough. All right. The next speaker, we're 10 minutes ahead of schedule, but that's always a good thing. Means we can ask more questions, inshallah, in between. The hose is real. Jigs. So the next speaker, yeah, we're running about 5 minutes actually ahead of schedule, but that's not a bad thing. So we have Masood from San Jose community.
MashaAllah.
How can I there's a clicker up there. Unless like oh my yeah, no, that was smart. That was smart. So forward? Yeah, but let me make sure it's on first for you. Okay, so forward is down is forward. So this is back, this is next. Down is forward. Oh, okay. Where is
So bear with us.
the battery come off? Salam alaikum. Um, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I know you guys love math. I kn- I know for sure Rodnik does. So I'm gonna start with the reason actually I want to talk about number 19 and the um, um, miraculous structure of Quran is that I recently first let me start with this. When I became a submitter, I hardly read the appendix 1 because that wasn't this mathematical wasn't the thing that approached me to this message. It was the God alone concept that was really appealing to me, and I started reading. And obviously, I read the appendix 1 later on. But recently, somebody asked me about what is the significance of this, and I tried to explain as much as knew, and they kind of concluded that okay, you can find the same thing in every book. Um, so I want to. That's why I looked a little deeper into it, and I want to share with you some of it. But let's begin with this. I think you know Fibonacci sequence, or some of you know. And there is a formula for that. Um, and let's create them together since you guys know math better than me. So it's a start with 0, 1, and then we're going to continue with this pattern, right? So the next number is 1. What is the next number? 2 and 3. Okay. Okay, now I'm sure that you guys know this. So, and you see this pattern creates this nice spiral. They call it like golden spiral. And we see this God's design in nature that we see a lot of these patterns in nature. Um, Many people, including scientists, philosophers, and theologians, see the deep mathematical pattern as a powerful evidence of divine design in nature. Whether it's the elegance of Fibonacci spiral in a sunflower, the precise constants in physics, or the complex yet ordered structure of DNA, such patterns can feel far beyond coincidence. For the first time in history, we have a scripture with built in proof of divine authorship, a superhuman mathematical composition. In the book, the computer speaks uh, God's message to the word. Rashad used computer to discover what is now known as mathematical miracle of Quran. So this is similar to what he used. Uh, the Quran displays a unique phenomenon unmatched by any human authored book. Every element of its mathematically structured. This includes surahs, verses, words, specific letters, the frequency of and variety of divine names, the distinctive spelling of certain words, the intentional absence or alteration of particular letters in a specific context, and many other features, all beyond its profound message and content. The divine structure effectively exposes and nullifies all the abuses, misrepresentations, distortions, traditions, and superstitions attributed to the God's final message. Um, Sorry, I'm a little ahead of myself. This scripture is infallible, a beacon of the righteous. The number 19 is the concentrate of Quran's mathematical structure. Is the first number and the last, the alpha and the omega. It's written the same in many languages, reinforcing its universality. Some aspects are simple and easily verifiable. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Um, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, consists of 19 letters. The Quran has 114 surahs, which is 19 multiplied by 6. Other features are deeply interlocked, intricate, and far more complex. This presentation aimed to give you a glimpse into this miracle and to marvel at how the author of Quran designed it down to the finest detail. As an example, consider the phrase Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Although it's missing at the start of chapter 9, it's compensated in chapter 27. And miraculously, the distance between the two chapters is exactly 19. This illustrates that not only word and letter counts carefully structured, but their locations also matter. Without knowledge of this mathematical miracle, many scholars have invented explanations for the missing Bismillah in chapter 9, which we see here. But the mathematical structure offers the only objective and verifiable answer. So we see like some of the things that they come up with in the absence of this knowledge. They were saying, "Oh, the tone of surah is harsh and stern. That's why we don't need a Bismillah, because Bismillah is basically comes from the merciful character of God, and this is like starting with declaration of this association from Allah." The other reason that they gave is that it was seen as a continuation of Surah Al Anfal, which is the previous surah, Surah 8. Um, and then the last one is the practice of prophet and um, companions. So they basically said that the prophet didn't write it, so we didn't need it. Um, is that the time passed or the time remains? Left. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I don't need to jump over things. Okay. Um, 19 is common denominator throughout the Quran's mathematical system. The phenomenon alone suffices as in controversial proof that the Quran is God's message to the world. No human beings could keep track of, for example, 2,698 occurrences of the word God and the numbers of verses where they occur. Uh, Look at the first 5 verses revealed to Prophet Muhammad. Read, in the name of your Lord who created. He created man from an embryo. Read, and your Lord most exalted teaches by means of the pen. He teaches man what he never knew. And you see that this includes 19 letters, the first revelation. And then it also includes um, a multiply of 19 alphabets. But I try to verify these things, and when we verify, we have to be very careful because this is really um, detailed work. Like for example, I counted first, and it didn't match because you see the difference between the word and son in verse 2 and here and son is the right spelling. So if you went with that one, the count of alphabet didn't match. um, Chapter 47, which discuss the mathematical structures, refers to it as hidden secret, one that remained undiscovered for about 1,406 lunar years until it was finally revealed in 1976. O hidden secret, come out and warn, exalt your Lord, purify your garment, forsake what is wrong. Traditional translations interpreted the opening verse of the chapter 74 as "O who you are wrapped up in your cloak," but were unable to grasp its deeper meaning. The main key in this chapter is in verse 31st, where it explains the purpose of this miracle. We appointed angels to be guardians of hell, and we assigned their number 19. One, to disturb the disbelievers. Two, to convince the Christians and Jews that this is a divine scripture. Three, to strengthen their faith of the faithful. Four, to remove all traces of doubt from hearts of Christian Jews as well as the believers. And five, to expose those who harbor doubt in their hearts and disbelievers. They will say, what did God mean by this allegory? God thus sends astray whomever he wills and guides whomever he wills. None knows the soldiers of your Lord except he. This is a reminder for the people. For the believers, it removes the last streak of doubt that we may have and strengthen our faiths. Verses 20 to 26 of the same chapter clearly state that those who deny the divine origin of Quran, those who claim it's man-made, will face misery and retribution. Miserable indeed is what he decided. He looked, he frowned and whined. Then he turned away arrogantly. He said, "This is but clever magic. This is human made. I will commit him to retribution." One of the greatest portion of this miracle is embedded in Quran initials, the mysterious letters that prefix 29 chapters. These initials follow mathematically precise pattern tied to the number 19. So these are the initials in 29 uh, surahs. And then I used ChatGPT to count the Q's, which basically qafs in Arabic, and it came to 50 times, the 57. And this is Surah 42, uh, which prefixes with Q. The same phenomenon happened in uh, Surah 50, which has, again, I asked ChatGPT to count them, and it came to 57 again. As demonstrated in these Q initial surahs, we have 57 Qs, which is 114, the total. The same number of surahs of Quran. So it's safe to assume that Q resembles Quran. This system is so intricate that only one error nullifies the whole thing. Let's take Hamim surahs as an example. Look at the data extracted from the book Computer Speaks. So before I go to that, the Hamim surahs are these 40 to 46. And you see these data are from book Computer Speaks that counts every ha and every meme in this surah. And you see how many, like the frequency of all this, which comes to here, all the counts of ha's and all the counts of memes, which I can't read it off of there, but it's more than 2,000, and it's multiple of 19, mashallah. We are looking at 7 chapters, about 1/10 of Quran, and over 2,000 alphabet letters that must be distributed in 7 chapters according to a specific pattern. I've created a model and asked AI, what are the chances of the Hamim phenomenon to happen in this fashion? And this is what it calculates, right? It's about 1 in 8 multiple 10 times 17 for this one phenomenon to happen. This is only one of the aspects of this 19 prefixes. And like, look at this, look at this, look at this. This is another example for ha, ta, sin, meme. And this is like, it's a lot of these. And then you see this again, this phenomenon we have. The Quranic initials and their mathematical distribution prove two things beyond the shadow of doubt. The Quran is the word of God, and Quran has been perfectly preserved. There are there are many more mathematical properties within the Quran. Distribution of Quran initials, geometrical or numerical values of letters, frequency of divine names, specific phrases like La ilaha illahu, Salat, Siyam. Even surahs without initials contain irrefutable structures. Take this. This is one example. So if we have the number of every verse in every surah, so we have seven verses in the first surah. The sum of verses, the sum of verse numbers for every surah. So we have 1 to 7, and then um, sum of the 1 to 7, which is 28, and then we're gonna write them in this fashion, like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 8. And then we repeat this for all the surahs, right? And it becomes this number. Look at the number. Starts from here. The result will be 12,836 digit, which is a multiple of 19. That number that I showed is a multiple of 19. Not only that, if we take the numbers shown above and reverse the order of verse numbers and sum of verse numbers, move the sum of verse numbers and put it ahead of the surah, the resulting long number is still a multiple of 19. Even writing the surahs backwards, reversing the order of surahs by starting with the last surah and ending with the first surah and placing the sum of verse numbers after the verses of each surah still is multiple of 19. Just as we began with the first revelation, let us conclude with the final one, which it doesn't go to the final one, but I have it here. The good news is uh, the good news that God's guarantee victory to the believers and the people will continue to join the community of submitters. That's the final revelations. Let me read it from here. Oh, it's here. Okay. When triumph comes to God and victory, you will see the people embracing God's religion in tongues. You shall glorify and praise your Lord and implore him for forgiveness. He is the Redeemer. And again, 19 words. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Masood. Okay, first question we have over here.
Salam alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
I was trying to do your calculations. So for 12,836 divided by 19, I got 675.579.
That's the number of digits.
Oh,
That's the number of digits. The number
uh,
is the one, the monster that I showed you. That multiple pages of that's the number. That 12,000 digits. That number has 12,000 digits.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
The number itself is an the number itself is a multiple of 19, not the digits.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up we have Fernan. No hard questions, Fernan, this time.
Okay, salam alaikum. Master, that was a really good speech, mashallah. I really liked it because I think the mathematical miracle, if you really get into it, it will blow your mind. You know, it's crazy. And when you use the Fibonacci sequence, I think it was really good. I like the golden ratio that you use that you see in nature and everything like that. My question to you is this: if you see that people that kind of don't care about the mathematical miracle, do you think that that is an important thing that people really need to study and get into it? Because I see, at the very beginning you kind of said it to it. Because like also when I first came to the message, I was more into the message itself. But the mathematical miracle, as I studied it later, it became very important. But now I see it as something that can really remove doubt from you. How do you see it?
Exactly. I know you know better than me. The function of miracle is not for you to believe, is for you to reassure. So nobody, by seeing miracles, remember that Pharaoh's people saw that the sea was open for them and they didn't believe. This is the same thing. I mean, this phenomenon happens and people see it, and many people who know math, they see it, but they tend to ignore.
Thank you. Any other questions? Wow. Okay. All right. Oh, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, mashallah. Okay, big round of applause for Masood. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, with regards to the bathroom, thank God the committee did speak with the hotel, and they are going to provide towels that should be used to ensure that you're wiping your feet, you're wiping the area before you leave the bathroom. Just remember, it is a public space, it's not us only using it, the hotel guests as well are using it. So, please, we're using the bathrooms again. No, no hosing yourself down. No, Payam, no. Yeah, they've provided the carts to put the towels under in. So once you've completed with the towels, then yeah, put the towel in the cart. Okay, and just a gentle reminder once again to parents, please, if you hear the noise in the room is getting a bit louder, then please, yeah, get up. Because we are trying to walk around, and I think Payam wanted to say a few words on this, but I said I'd say it on his behalf. But it is getting loud, and if it's loud at the front here where we're sitting, then I can only imagine what it's like in the back of the room. So please be mindful, inshallah. Yes, okay, mashallah. Great, okay. Moving on, let's go to our next speaker. We have LP talking about impatience.
Were you guys recording slides? Do I point there? Down it. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Quiet down, please. SubhanAllah, this is my 15th conference, and it's my first speech. I guess they finally ran out of reasons as to why I can't give a speech, but I'm up here and I share the same sentiment as Riyasha mentioned during her speech, so go easy. Closer? Okay. Okay. All right. So my topic today is on impatience. And I'm gonna start out by asking you guys a question, God willing. So get your math skills ready. But don't shout out the answer. I want you just to make a mental note for yourself. Imagine someone offers you $2 million today. They offer you 8,000 every week for the rest of your life. They offer you $500,000 every year for life, or they offer you 5 cents per second for the rest of your life. Honestly, make a mental note, and which one would you choose? The 2 million upfront sounds safe. 8,000 a week sounds steady. 500,000 per year sounds luxurious. But that last option, 5 cents per second, it sounds small. But let's do the math. 5 cents per second is $3 per minute. That's $180 per hour. That's $4,300 per day, which is $1.6 million per year for life. So what seems small and slow, and what most people overlook, turns out to be the best choice. And yet, most people would have taken the 2 million up front. That's because the human being is wired to crave immediate results, instant answers, and fast rewards. That, in a nutshell, is human impatience. Psychologists coined this term as hyperbolic discounting. It's where you value immediate results over future gains, even when they are clearly better. One study offered people $10 here and now, or here and then, or $20 if they waited just 2 weeks. And an overwhelming majority of people chose the $10. These tendencies are frightening because I just explained, I gave you an example of how people treat it with money, but that's how people approach life itself. We want happiness now. We want success now. We want answered prayers now. And if they're delayed, we lose hope, we assume failure, and we give up. See, the Quran teaches us that we can have all of these things here and now, but we must uphold the commandments that God prescribes for us in the Quran. But here's the thing, impatience is not new. It's not a modern flaw. It's not something specific to our generation. God tells us in the Quran that impatience is in our nature. Chapter 17, verse 11. The human being often prays for something that may hurt him, thinking that he is praying for something good. The human being is impatient. 2137. The human being is impatient by nature. I will inevitably show you my signs. Do not be in such a hurry. So God himself is telling us impatience is a flaw in our nature. But the good news is he doesn't just point it out. He exposes the flaw and tells us how to overcome it. In fact, if we actually have a formula in chapter 22, verse 15, which I'll read later, God willing. But I've derived a formula for our success that nothing will be able to bother us. So if you take t to the power of, you know what, I didn't finish school, but I think you guys get the point. Trust God. We have many that was a little late. We have many stories to reflect on in the Quran about this. I want to start with the prophet Job. He lost his family, he lost his health, he lost his wealth, and to be quite honest, when I'm reflecting on this, if people lose any combination of one or two of these things, most people will just give up. But he lost it all, but one thing he didn't lose is his trust in God. And eventually relief came. Reflecting on Joseph's story from his perspective and also his father's perspective. Joseph was thrown into a well by his brothers, sold as a slave, he was falsely accused, and he was imprisoned for years. Yet throughout all of these events, his unwavering patience and trust made him, successful. He was reunited with his family. He became the treasurer of Egypt. And also from Jacob's perspective, his father, he lost his son. He grieved about this for years and years. And in fact, in chapter 12, verse 18, this is his response. He says, I'm paraphrasing or concatenating, all I can do is resort to a quiet patience. And like I mentioned, eventually he was reunited with his family. See, also Zechariah, almost missed this one. He prayed for a child well into his old age. Decades of prayers. Can you guys imagine praying for something for years, decades, and it hasn't been answered yet and you just don't give up? Well into his old age, God granted him John, against all human expectations. Patience wasn't just recommended to these prophets, it was the foundation of their success. Because once you have patience, patience is a byproduct of trust. If you trust God, you have patience. You have no problem being patient, waiting for God's plan to unravel. If you don't trust God, you become impatient. You want to take control of a situation. You think you can control the outcome of something. Now, I know the last one didn't get as much laughter as I wanted, but I put this formula together too. If you have patience, uh, good things come out of it. I think everyone's worn out of the formulas from nothing. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. um, so this speech is sort of a prequel to a sermon I gave in our community about how Eileen and I announced that she was pregnant. I put this photo up on the projector. It says an answered prayer. What I did mention in that sermon was that my wife and I tried for a child for up to 2 years. So let me try and paint you guys a picture, God willing, and this is a little tough for me to talk about. Thank God, it was a great experience. When my wife and I first began our journey to start a family, we were full of hope, and excitement. But month after month, as we faced those negative pregnancy test results, that hope started to turn into impatience and doubt. Those 2 years felt like 20 years. Every negative result weighed heavier than the last. While we were going through this, our friends were starting to announce their pregnancies. In fact, there was one Quran study where 3 of our close friends announced their pregnancies as a surprise to everybody. And though we were extremely excited for these guys, it was a very difficult time for us. This part I was having a little bit of a hard time articulating because in my speech because I feel like while I was putting this speech together, I was playing with words and I didn't want to say things in a certain way that would put Eileen and I in a certain light. But I think I'm just going to express exactly how I felt, God willing, despite my ego. There are things in life we want and that we think we're ready for, and we think that we know what it will take. So we do our best to achieve them, but the saying God is controlling everything, God is running everything isn't a light thing. You really have to understand it. In our case, we really wanted to start a family, and though all of our friends were doing just that, we couldn't do a single thing about it. It was such a humbling experience. I truly felt like it was a pivotal moment in Eileen and I's submission, where we either object and possibly go astray, or we submit and the stakes are high. We questioned ourselves, we questioned our health. In fact, I had scheduled an appointment for me to just go and get examined. I was literally in the lobby of the clinic, but I had left before the doctor saw me. I had a moment of weakness where I thought, I know nothing's wrong, but I just want to go and get examined and see and find out. There's no harm in finding out. And I'm not by the way, I'm not saying don't seek medical help. That's not my message here. In my case, I knew it was a matter of submission, not a worldly sense. I knew there was no medicine that could fast forward what I needed to go through. Through it all, one thing we never did was question God and his infinite wisdom. Within the next few months, something inside us started to shift. We both finally reached the point of surrender. We came to a conviction that nothing was wrong with our health, nothing worldly could change, our circumstance. It will happen when God wants it to happen. And we said this and we meant it. We said, God, if this is good for us, bless us. Without exaggeration, the following month we saw a positive test result. MashaAllah. Now, I share this not as a lesson in miracles, although it could be, but as a lesson in patience. God's wisdom works on a timeline we can't see. Sometimes he withholds, other times he provides, and only God knows the reasons why. And here's the best part. God has our best interest in mind. Even though we might want to make short-sighted decisions like the money example I gave in the beginning, God will protect the believers from choosing other than the best path. Personally, what I learned and what I hope is the takeaway is to recognize that patience is your default mode. It is in our nature to be impatient. Also, patience isn't passive, it's an active choice that you have to make. You must actively choose to trust in God, even when every fiber in your being is telling you to do otherwise. It's a daily choice to trust God, even when you don't understand His plan. Every time your patience is being tested, realize you're standing in the middle of a test or a purification. And like that 5 cents per second, the reward for your patience may not be obvious now, but over time, it will turn into something you couldn't imagine. God is never late. It's just working on a timeline you can't control. Speaking directly to everyone here, here's there's things in life that you may want, whether it's marriage, healing from an illness, finding a job, financial relief. Remember what God says in chapter 4, verse 28 and 22:15. God wishes to lighten your burden, for the human being is created weak. If anyone thinks that God cannot support him in this life and in the hereafter, let him turn completely to his Creator in heaven and sever his dependence on anyone else. He will then see that this plan eliminates anything that bothers him. May God allow us to be among those who wait with trust and those whose patience leads them to blessings far beyond what they expected. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Ah, well done, LP. That
Mashallah,
was your first
mashallah.
ever speech, mashallah. And you had lots of teary eyes all around the room.
Yeah, I've got the tissues. Who needs it? Mashallah. Questions? Omid first.
Well, it doesn't have to be a question, does it? Um, I just want to share this also with everybody because I'm very close friends with LP and I knew about this journey as it was happening. And witnessing this happen with LP was such a massive sign for me as well. So, subhanAllah, I feel like we can see God's assurance through like other people's lives. I'm not exaggerating when I say 1 week prior to him announcing that he's having a child, I was talking to him. I was saying, LP, I don't know if it would be wrong, for instance, if you wanted to go to like a doctor or like see you guys look into maybe something to like make this happen. And what's funny is he knew that Eileen was pregnant, and but what he was telling me was like, no, I know what I need to do. What I need to do is I need to like put my trust in God, figure out like whatever we're doing wrong, and I know absolutely God will allow this to happen. And I was like, like I kind of didn't know what to feel. Like, where do you draw the line? But then when I saw it happen, I was like so overwhelmed with joy and seeing that like this is God's promise. And LP, subhanAllah, like he kind of exemplified this trait as a submitter, and it was so awesome to witness. I just wanted to share that.
Mashallah. Thank you. Uh, any other questions or comments? Please feel free to raise your hand. Thank you.
Salam alaikum, LP John. It's not the question, it's like just comment. It was really inspiring for me and for all of us. It's, as Omid said, it's assurance for all of us. It's really important when people share the experience, share the things that they're going through. It's really help people to get to this point, trusting God. God promises truth, and always we should trust in God because outcoming for believers is always good.
Mashallah, yes. Great comments.
Assalamu alaikum, LP John. It was really great. I enjoyed it very much. I was wondering if somebody is sick and wants to go to a doctor, the same time wants to trust God, how would they feel and think? Because they are, we are thinking that trusting in God, then why are you going to doctor? If you are going to doctor, why are you trusting God, right? So which one should I just, go first and the other one second?
Assalamu alaikum. I think they go hand in hand. Well, God blessed us with medical care, right? There are some things where you can put your trust in God and it'll resolve itself over time. And I'm not saying God's healing is limited, but there are things you need to do. Like, for example, if you break a bone and it needs to heal properly, you need to go see a doctor. It'll heal by itself, of course, but you need to go and seek medical help to be able to have it heal properly. Like, if you break your elbow or a joint or something. So I don't think that it's one or the other. I think you put your trust in God and you make a decision like the Quran says, and God will see to it that the outcome of your situation is the best that it can be. So yeah.
MashaAllah. Eddie?
All right. Uh, I think I think um I think you and Shazia won the conference. I mean Shazia, not Riyasha won the conference. I don't know. I I don't think there's any room for questions. I think it's just I just wanted to say I don't know how I didn't know how you felt. It's weird. I don't usually get emotional, but props to you for not giving up.
Guys got me standing up here crying. Hold on, I gotta get off the stage.
Okay, I'm going to give the last comment to Mary, inshallah, or question.
LP, I was, mashallah, your speech, as Fariba said, was great for all of us. Praise be to God. And I love your little one. I wish that we could put a picture on the screen, God willing, of that little kid, inshallah, because he's so cute, mashallah. But mashallah, I love you. Praise God.
MashaAllah. Okay, thank you so much, MashaAllah. That speech definitely touched us all. And yeah, great reminder of God's promise, MashaAllah.
Hussein, can you hear me? So we're going to be starting the trivia early. Well, Natasha's ready. Let me just find out from Hussein. Give me a sec.
Better, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no, ready.
Yeah, I've already said it. They're not.
You ready? Salam alaikum. Okay, so we're gonna do things a little bit different this year. So usually everybody has their phones out and then they cheat to do the trivia game. So because people end up playing in teams usually, we're gonna do teams this year. And it's basically gonna be one half of the room versus the other half of the room. But it's not just a matter of brain power. There's going to be some physical activity involved too. So Natasha will be on this side of the room. I will be on the other side where the exit is. And the way it's going to work is all of you on one side are going to get together. All of you on one side are going to get together. You're going to pick one person from your team. So what'll happen is Natasha will ask the question. You guys will deliberate. You will tell that one person the answer. They have to run to me at the end. Whoever gets to me first, depending on what team they're on, they'll have a chance to answer the question. If they answer it correctly, they get a point. If they answer it wrong, the other team gets a chance to play. It will continue to get more complicated. We will end up having a spoon race with eggs as well. So it's not just a matter of speed, it's also accuracy and so on. So what I would say is if you are in the back, I would maybe congregate closer to the front side of the room as a team, and then we can slowly get started. So I would say move forward, get together, pick I don't care how you do it, pick a team captain, whatever you want, but we're gonna rotate the people that end up running. So Aaron Balthazar, where you are, you might want to move your chair out of the way a little bit. Yeah, no rolling, just running this time. No. Do I need what? No, no, perfect. Thank you. Pick one person from each side to be ready to run. This is physical trivia. Oh, I'm just gonna go. How am I gonna You gotta go on that. You have to go on that side, and I'll have to run to you at the exit. So I want me to ask a question for you next. Hi. I will not say. Okay, everyone, look at Natasha. She's walking down. She what? No, no, no. Just pay attention to her.
I told
Abuzar, you're in the way. Arshan, you're in the way. Sanas is in the way.
okay.
So you,
Make a hole.
everyone is
Make a hole.
keep coming forward.
Left
Q
hand,
knows what he's doing. He's up here. Smart. Okay. Get on your sides. Parsa, move up. Delilah knows she's smart.
Hussein, they said repeat the instructions one more time.
I will repeat it. If you want to play and you're on each side, come forward. Come forward. I see Ali J. He's smart. You want him to play. Ziba,
Left side.
my dad, Zeb. I will explain it. I see Sephora. She doesn't want to play. Shar. She doesn't want to play. Okay, good. I see some activity. I will explain again. Don't worry. Camille, Asal, you're in the way right now.
We need this stretch clear. Assam.
Good job, Mahan. Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to explain what's going on. Shh. Pay attention. I'm going to explain it once. If you don't hear me, then you don't get to play. Guys, listen up. Listen up. Ali Bazi, Harsa. I could tell this team's going to lose already because they're not listening. All right. Shh. Iman, I need you guys to get out of the way. Parents, grab your children because they're going to get run over. Let's go. All right. Each team, this first part, it will be a simple run. You're going to pick one person. So pick who you think is your fastest runner. Pick one. And then you're going to stand right where I'm standing. All right. Pick your fastest runner. Payam is for. All right. I got one person. Juliet, you're going to get steamrolled. Okay, we got Ali Bazi on the other side, I think. Is it Ali? Okay, Julia, I'm gonna have you move out of the way. All right, Ali, come here. Payam, come here. All right, everyone else, listen up on the two teams. Get out of the way. Vida Jr., you're gonna get run over. Okay. Natasha is going to read the question. Natasha, you're not gonna hear what's going on. If you are up here, you're gonna want to hear what to do. All right. Natasha's going to read the question. You guys, as teams, need to figure out the answer, yell it to the runner. Once the runner takes off, you cannot say anything to them. The first runner that gets Natasha will be able to answer the question. If you get it right, you get the point. If you get it wrong, then the other team gets a chance. So, does that make sense? No, I don't care. I don't care how you get the information to Ali or Payam. I don't care. All right, listen up. Natasha. Natasha is going to read the first question. Shh.
Okay.
No.
Also, if you even come close to tackling me, I will kick right here. Okay. Just kidding. I won't do that. Here's the question. Where is the tree that produces oil and relish located? The answer is correct. It's Sinai. And that answer can be
All
found.
right.
Oh,
I take it.
Hossein.
Good.
I'm just reading where you can find the answer.
Yeah.
The answer can be found in Surah 23, verse 20. 1 point for Natasha's team. This is Natasha's team.
All right. Don't worry. There's more to go.
Okay, just real quick. This is Natasha's team. I just made that up. And this is Hossein's team because I just made that up also.
All right.
Okay. Next question.
Hey, no.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. Now we're gonna rotate runners, so someone new comes in. All right.
The question.
All right. Are you teams ready? Pay attention. Arshawn, take your shoes off. You need speed. Okay. All right, Natasha. Second question.
Please, God, do not let Evan or Arshawn tackle me. Okay. Where did Noah's Ark land?
No. Arshawn, tell him the answer.
Okay. He gave me an answer. It's not the full answer.
What? How close is it?
It's very close.
I think.
Hold on.
Shh. What is Natasha?
How do you want to do it? How do you want to do it?
Hold on. Evan, pause.
Okay.
Tell me the answer. Okay, hold on. Evan, I want to tell Natasha your answer. Evan doesn't even know the answer, so we're going to go ahead and give it to Arshawn.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so
It's over.
he whispered. I want everyone to know the
Oh,
answer.
yeah.
Okay, so the question was, where did Noah's Ark land? Arshawn said Judea, but it's the hills of Judea, which is found in Surah 11, verse
He didn't
44.
even know the answer. All right. Okay. We're going to do one more version like this, and we're going to rotate. All right. So it's 1-for-1 right now. Who are the new runners? Okay, everyone else take a slight step back, just so you don't block them. All right. All right. So we have Darian and Talia. Talia, those shoes got to come off. Yeah. This is hilarious. Okay. Shh. Quiet down. We have the new question. Natasha, you good?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Listen carefully. Maybe Siraj might know the answer. If you break the state of Ihram, sanctity, between Umrah and Hajj, God says you shall expiate by offering an animal sacrifice.
No. Shh.
If you can't afford it, how many days during Hajj should you fast? Wrong.
Oh.
Correct.
Wow.
Okay. Let me explain. Okay, Talia
Hold
said,
on.
okay, listen. Talia
hold on.
said 7 and Darian said 3. And I said, how many days during Hajj shall you fast? So the verse says in Surah 2, verse 196, you shall fast 3 days during Hajj and 7 when you return home, completing 10. That was a tough one. Siraj, did you give that answer? Siraj and Gulnar, did you give that answer?
Yes.
Masha. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we ready, Hossein?
Wait.
No, we're not ready.
Yes. Okay, hold on. We're gonna make it a little more complicated. So now, who are the runners? Oh, but now it's gonna be harder. So hold on, I have something to make it a little more complicated. Watch out. Beep beep. All right, Delilah. So I have An egg? Yeah, it's hard boiled. Don't worry. All right. And Rodnick, I have one more for you. It's as fair as the teams want it to be. Rodnick, you're gonna hold the egg.
Rodnick
Yeah.
might be more qualified than I am.
Careful. All right. So now it's a little bit more complicated. Hold on. Shh. If you drop the egg, you go back to the beginning. All right. So it's all about focus. Everything else still applies. So same rules. All right. And hold on. You guys are way okay. Hold on. You guys, everyone, take a step back. Teams. No. Okay. Back up. Back. I want Delilah. Come move back a little bit. Golnar, move back. All right. All right, Natasha.
All
Listen
right.
up. She's gonna ask you the question. Shh.
Next question. Which animal is used to describe the scattered resurrection of the disbelievers? I heard the answer from here.
Oh. Uh,
Let's say what game?
I was here first.
The answer is locust. Correct.
Good job. Good.
Tasha's team.
That was
Tasha's
very
team.
good. No, one, next, give it to your next teammate.
She was. Yeah. The answer can be found in Surah 54, verse 7.
You're asking them easy questions.
And I
We need to go
I
hard.
have hard ones.
We go hard.
Okay.
Yeah, there needs to be more deliberation.
Okay. I got a good one.
Okay. Do we have our next runners? Hand them the eggs. Where are the eggs? I don't see them. Golnar. Wait, where's the egg? Delilah, where's your egg? Where's the egg? Oh, okay. I was like, are you guys ready? I hear chatting. All right. Oh yeah, if you cheat, no thumb anywhere near it. Let me see this. All right. Okay. No, the shoes are okay. Okay, Natasha. We're making the questions harder.
All right. How many more questions do we have, just so I know?
How much time do we have? What time are we supposed to stop? Oh, we got some more time.
Okay. So we'll work up to it, Jose. I got some hard ones for
Okay.
the end. Okay. Okay, how about this one? Thamud and Ad disbelieved in what? Correct. They disbelieved in the shocker, which is in Surah 69,
Hey,
verse 4.
Natasha, what's the score? Is it even?
I'm not keeping.
I think it's tied,
even.
right?
Yeah. Let's just say it's 3-3.
All right.
Tough.
Next runner.
That was tough one. Okay.
Corotolin, yeah, next group. Oh yeah, who's going next? Whoever you want. Q. How much time? Okay. You could do it. All right. Okay, wait. Okay, you two little ones. Just remember the answer your team gives you. Because Evan forgot his when he got there. So, all right. Shh.
Okay, this could kind of be a trick question, maybe not.
No.
Are we ready to go?
Hey, imagine there's an invisible line here. There you go.
Are we ready? Okay, this could kind of be a trick question. We'll see. And make sure no one's using their phones.
Lily, come to me. Oh, thank you. Here, I'll hold it for her. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's very sweet of you, Lily. She brought ice cream for the
Thanks,
kids.
Lily.
For Hossein.
Mashallah. Way to be a good
No, it's for
share.
Hossein.
Okay, here's the question. How long did Moses stay in Midian? Oh, here we go. Here we go. No.
Oh, okay. Wait. Shh. Wait. Okay. Yeah, there you go, Juju. You got it. Slow. Slow, slow, slow. Slow, Rodnick, slow. No, you're good, you're good.
No. No. So here's a hint. The answer can be found in Surah 20, verse. I'm not saying yet. Yeah, Surah 20.
You're doing
How
good,
long
Rodnick.
did Moses stay in Midian? No, that's not the right answer.
Okay.
The answer is in Surah 20, verse.
Wait, don't say it yet. Let them get there. Let them get there.
Okay.
Wait, yeah. Okay. Surah 20 what, Natasha?
Verse 40.
Get your phones out. Surah 20, verse 40. Yeah. Cheat. You can't answer it.
Also, I said it's kind of a trick question. You guys have to listen. How long did Moses stay in Midian? No.
All right. Last one from Rodnick, and then we'll go next question. The egg is. The egg is. Okay, that's waste. Okay. Okay.
Here the answer. I can smell the eggs. The answer is years. Surah 20, verse 40.
Okay,
years.
Rodnick, give me the egg. I'll take that. Thank you. No, you don't want to eat this. It fell on the ground. I'll take that one. All right. How much time? We have 2 minutes? All right. Natasha.
Yeah.
I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions.
I have wait, they said that we have 20 minutes. I got like 20,000 more questions.
We went from 20 minutes to 3 minutes, so that's what we're going
Okay.
with. Hold on. No more eggs.
Okay.
Who's running next? Okay, Parsa. Parsa and who else?
Parsa.
Okay, I don't know. No, I'm good.
I cannot.
Okay. No, it's okay. You can have your shoes on. Okay, guys. All right, we all love Parsa. Parsa, Arshan, turn around. You gotta go. You gotta walk backwards. All right. All right. So, and then Arshan, move a little forward. There you go. All right, Natasha, it's yours.
Okay, I'm saving the hardest questions for last.
No more trick questions. They really struggled that last one.
I enjoyed watching it. At one point, Rodnick said 89.9.
So cute.
Okay. Are we ready? Do we have the race?
We're ready.
Yeah?
Yeah. Shh.
Okay. Which prophet said this prayer? My Lord, forgive me, my parents, and whoever enters my home as a believer.
Watch out!
Both of you are wrong.
Oh, backwards. There you go.
Correct. Noah.
Okay, Natasha.
The answer was
Natasha.
in 71:28.
78.
71:28.
71:28.
The answer was Noah.
Okay, guys.
Is this the last question?
This is the last. All right, Natasha.
Hossein, let me know for the last question
We're on the
because
last one.
okay, then give them pen and paper in case they want to write it down.
No, okay, hold on. Take a second.
The one where it's like, what are the five gods? And it's like, yeah, what?
Okay, guys. Listen. Each team needs a pen and a piece of paper. Okay, so get it. You're gonna.
No phones.
Okay.
No cheating.
So the way this question is structured is that it's going to be a list of answers. Okay. So you need to.
You don't have to write it down
You
if you
don't.
can remember it.
If Ikra can remember or Fatima can remember all of the answers, you don't need to write it down. But Natasha is going to read the question. We're not going to tell you how many. Okay. Natasha's going to read the question. You can either memorize the answer or you could write it down. Honor my mom. Yes, mom. Sorry, I can't tell you the answer.
This is for all the marbles.
This is for the win. It's worth 2 points.
Are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Okay.
Oh, wait, real quick. Fatima and Ikra, you guys can just run once you get the answers, okay? No, nothing special. So just when you get the answer, go. All right.
All right, here we go. No cheating. And pronunciation is going to matter 75%. If in case you want to change your runners. What were the names of the 5 gods the people of Noah said not to abandon? What were 5?
Spelling is not important.
Spelling was not important.
Spelling is not important.
But I want to hear how y'all say the name. Wrong.
Oh, run, Ikra, run!
Let's go, Team Natasha. What? Read it. Read it. No. Come on, Team Natasha.
Neither one of them are right. Actually, I don't want that right. Natasha, if they were gonna look for the answers, what
Not
chapter?
yet. They don't get to look for the answers yet.
Oh, okay.
Are y'all struggling
No,
that
no,
bad?
you're not cheating yet.
Okay, Team Natasha. Woo! Okay. The answer. Okay, the answer. Hold on. The answer was Wad, Suwa, Yauk, and Nasser. Surah 71, verse 23. Let's go.
All right, you guys. Good job. Good job. Well done.
Natasha.
That one was for the win. You guys are all winners, okay? I don't know who won. I wasn't keeping track. It was
Definitely Team Natasha. We said that was for all the marbles.
my team won, but
Natasha. Natasha.
It doesn't matter. It's over. They were cheating? Oh. Oh.
Okay, Ikram with the championship win.
All right, guys. We're taking a break for until 3:25, so you have 10 minutes. Enjoy. We've been told there was some cheating from Team Natasha, but we'll give it a pass until next year.
Okay, I heard we can do one more question. It's up to you guys. I have like 7,000 more questions.
Excuse.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, well done, mashallah. So our next speech is going to be at 3:25. 3:25, we have a Quran app demo by Manny. 3:25, people.
So, guys, you have a 10-minute break that we've just added in. 10-minute break. Please be back here by 3:25. Thank you.
No, we won. What happened?
Oh, we won.
Loser.
So get on Discord right now. Or just quickly type stop. Everything behind said yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll tell you which one to get on. Can you get onto a global stage? No, 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 no. Just get on Discord. I got that there. Yeah, this one. Right? I got the listener. I'll make you a speaker. Okay, wait. Okay, you should be able to join. Okay, can you share your screen? Do your whole screen. You're gonna use full screen mode as well, right? Okay, perfect. No, no, you don't have to do it now, but just test it. Just test it out. Yeah, test it out. How can I read my text? When you're oh, oh. I'm worried about it. My phone. Where's the text? It's a picture. Yeah, that's then you can order stuff. This is public record. I mean, I want it to get to it, right? Right? So which one for a business? All this. Like whenever when here's the Vietnamese, 32 is 32. All those because the binary is one. So there is well, you know, like there could probably be some interesting things that you figure out, but I don't know if that's the case.
Okay, okay. You make sure. Okay, I see it. Don't show me. Don't press if you're doing it normally. I want to see how your phone looks. Okay, can you scroll around and stuff? Okay, we're perfect. That's okay. Fine. You have an incomplete process?
And I feel sorry for the ones that are not here. They're about to miss out on a big announcement. So, mashallah, thank you all for the participation and setting up the stage for us to deliver speeches and by God's grace also share some updates that we've been working on for a long time. And maybe to give you a quick intro, I remember it was maybe like, I don't know, like 10 years ago when I wanted to design the entire Quran experience and inshallah, and by God's grace, to come up with an application that could solve a lot of the issues that I was going through, for example, like giving sermons and studying or researching a topic. And and it took a long time for that design to see the light of day. So by God's grace, certain things happen in order for us to finally get to this stage where we can present this idea by God's leave. So, um, and a couple of things I do want to mention about this application. Oops, sorry. I'm sharing my phone and on my laptop, so I had to borrow Kiana's phone so I can look at the notes. So there are a lot of things that we had to be careful of. We had to make sure that the data that we're using is the accurate data that's based on the Turquoise Quran. So, mashallah, a lot of people participated to cross-reference with the Turquoise Quran to ensure that the text is accurate. It matches exactly the copy that we have. And that's one of the reasons why it took a really long time for us to feel confident so we could officially release something. Um, and also, another part that I think it was a valuable lesson for me as well is when it comes down to striving, one of the things that we always have to keep in mind is taking ownership. Because it's easy for us to want to strive, but it doesn't really matter unless you take full ownership and put your foot down and actually drive it yourself. And that's one of the things that I have learned. And mashallah, the people that came and helped along the way, God bless you all. You did a lot of great work. And mashallah, we still have a lot of cool updates that will eventually come out, God willing. And we can, inshallah, announce more cool features along the way. So I'm going to, God willing, start my demo. So um, the Quran application, I don't know if you can see. Oh, wow, this is like kind of tiny, but I wanted to go over like some of the features that, so inshallah, you're all familiar with what it can do and you can, God willing, benefit from it. And to give you a quick overview, I wanted to show you the navigation and how we have everything set up in the application. We do have a generic menu where you can access the table of contents. You can access all your bookmarks. You can access your custom lists. You can build like a list that based on a topic that you want to research. And also you can explore notes and research your notes as well. So, and then the app interface, the reader interface, a couple of things that we have in there that we got a lot of cool feedback from the submitters, mashallah, along the way. And one of those was the ability to being able to read 2 pages or keep track of reading 2 pages per day. And we do have, mashallah, now a custom header with that matches exactly our the turquoise Quran with the page description and with the page number. So if you do want to read along the way as you read, as you can see, the header will update and it goes to the next page. So that way you can keep track of how many pages you're reading. And mashallah, it becomes fixed at the top. And if you do also bookmark, there are multiple ways of bookmarking. You can either bookmark the entire page. So when you tap on the bookmark icon at the top right, it will bookmark that page. So let's say if you're page number 2, you want to just stop there, you can just use the bookmark icon at the top right, and that will enable the bookmarking of that individual page. And the other thing that we have at the top navigation, we have the random verse. So tapping that, it will give you a random verse that you can surprise yourself with. And also we have the search functionality. And it's mashallah, we have a lot of options, filtering options for your search. So you can search case sensitive, you can search exact match of what you're looking for, you can search based on categories, so whether it's a proclamation, preface, introduction, surahs, or just the verse, or glossary, index, and also your notes. We have it at all the way at the bottom. That's where you can search your notes. So if you have a lot of content within your notes, you can also use the search to look that up. And then for the going back to the reader, we also have an appearance menu. You can see the A icons at the top right there. And by tapping that, you'll have options where you can change the way the reader looks. So for example, you can increase the size of the text. So I'm like, for example, right now, increasing the size. Oh, okay. So you can increase the size of the text. So you can see that they're ginormous right now. And if I want to make it much smaller, I can just keep tapping the A, and you can see you can get it pretty tiny if you want to have more content to read on a single page. So mashallah, that's all fully dynamic. It should work with your bookmarks and everything, so it doesn't change the position of anything. And then a couple other things, you can change the scripture language if you want to, for example, add Arabic. English is there by default, but if you do want to add Arabic, that's also an option. You can toggle it on and off if you want to have the Arabic for reference. And then you also can choose custom fonts. If there are different fonts that you're comfortable with for the reading, I like, for example, I use the Crimson Pro. That's my favorite. So you can, for example, change the font of the reader. So if you prefer something different, you can just choose a different font. And at the end, we have theming now too. So if you want to get it in dark mode, it's all mashallah ready. You can do a custom theme, and you can also use the system theming based on your device. If it's a light mode or dark mode, it automatically switches. And at the end, we have the text alignment. So if you want the left justified, or if you want the full width to cover the text, then that's also an option too. So um, going back to light mode, so it becomes easier to see. And then okay. And at the bottom of the reader, you can see there's a fixed footer, and that's for the counter. If for the counter of, and once you tap on it, it gives you the description. And on the left, you get the cumulative frequency of the word God, and on the right, you see the cumulative sum of verses where God occur. So cool thing is, as you see, like for example, right now the word God here is in orange. So when you have that active, as you scroll, it will show you what that number represents. So for example, I'm scrolling right now, and when I get to, let's say, okay, like here, like chapter 2, verse 7, you can see that that number right now is updated based on the position that you're in. So mashallah, that's another cool feature where you can see, for example, the 19th time the word God was mentioned, you can actually see that and visualize it. And then the Okay, so the one other thing I wanted to show you for the reader experience and how you can interact with the verses. So the interaction that we have in place, you can choose multiple items. So for example, let's say I want to choose chapter 2, verse 7. When you tap on it, it does show you a dotted line underneath, so you kind of see that it's been selected. And when you select the verse, or it could be a paragraph from, let's say, the appendix, or it could be from the introduction, doesn't matter. It just recognizes one paragraph at a time. And when you choose a verse, it gives you the options to copy, gives you the option to bookmark individual verses. If you don't want to bookmark the page, you can just bookmark that verse in particular. You can also look up all of the related content that complement that verse. You can add notes to it, and you can add that verse to your list. So if you want to, again, build a custom list, you can do that. And you can also choose multiple items. If you choose, let's say, 2 items, then you can get more options. Some options like bookmarking goes away because it doesn't make sense, but it's a dynamic menu, mashallah. So if you want to, like, let's say, add multiple items to your list, like you're building something specific for your sermon or topic, um, or teachings, and that gives you the ability to like have multiple items selected so you can add it to the list. And at the end you can just simply share whatever you have directly. So now, one other thing I wanted to go over is particularly about the related section. So let's say I've selected chapter 2, verse 7. If I go to the related, you can see that chapter 2, verse 7 has been mentioned in the index, in the appendix. So it will give us the ability to, by God's leave, look up that verse in depth. So, for example, like if I, let's say 2 verses 7 is mentioned in for disbelievers described in the index. So if I tap on that, that will open up a page where I can see the index item with the verses that are related to that. And at the bottom, you can see every verse together. So if you want to sort of just focus on one index and read all the verses, you can just simply choose that option and go through all of the verses that you can see at the bottom. Oops, I don't know what happened. Okay. And then if you want to go to the next, let's say, index item, at the bottom, we do have a footer where you can paginate through different pages. So let's say I go to the next index item, which is eyes um, veiled or deceived, and you can see that also that gives you more content to research. And then at the top right, there's a 3 dot where you can interact with that, and it gives you the ability to copy all of the verses. So if you want to, let's say, copy all of that and then move it to your notes or show it or have it in your presentation, you can just simply copy all of that, or you can add all of it to a list. So if you want to add all of that to your list, you got a bottom sheet popping up, and it will give you the option to add it to your favorite, which is a list that we have by default. That's there. It's a permanent list, or you can create your own, which I'll get to in a sec. I know I got like 2 minutes, right? So now let's say I do want to add this chapter 2, verse 7 to a list, and I can add it to my favorite list, or I can create a new list. And if you create a new list, let's say you want to type in something like disbelievers, I'm just going to shorten it, and then create one, and then it shows up, then you can toggle it, and you can hit done, and then it will populate your list. So it's a great tool where you can just simply have a custom list with all the verses, and when you open the list, you can see all the verses that should be available with the name of the list at the top. And you can do the same thing. You can copy all of the verses that you have in your list, or you can clear the list, or you can edit the search name. So, or you can delete it if it's a custom list. And then one other thing is has to do with notes. So if you do want to add notes with every paragraph or every verse, you can just simply attach a note. And I'm just going to write, for example, something here. And in the notes page, you can also you have the ability um, to highlight. So if I just tap that and then I just select something, I can, highlight that part, or I can have a different highlight color. So you can just simply have multiple highlight colors for that particular verse. So now we also have highlighting available. And then you can see also there are 2 tiny icons that you can see, one for the bookmark if you bookmark the verse, or one for the note. If you have a written note for that paragraph or the verse, it shows up. So as you're reading, you can see that as an indicator that you have some notes inside of that. So that way you can just simply reference it and open it. All right. So one last thing about the reader. So if I, for example, want to, let's say, search something, I'm going to go to dietary prohibition. And let's say in the appendix, mashallah, all of that is formatted. Even within the search, you get the context menu, so you can select multiple items as you're searching, and you can go to it, you can bookmark it, you can see the related content, you can add it to your list. So that experience is also within search as well. And then one other thing, so maybe I can go to the appendix 1 to show you Makan's, mashallah, dedicated effort to format a lot of the content here. So where is appendix 1? Oh my God, I think might probably just do a search. There we go. So, and also the other thing is we do have now tables. So if you want to see the mathematical miracle as table view, it's very simple, mashallah, to follow it, and it's just a side scroll, so you can scan it for yourself. And these are all by God's grace now fully updated in the app. And one last thing, which this is just a teaser. It's not yet released yet. We're gonna zero. Can I maybe like 2 minutes to show this? Okay. So if you want to, oh, it's not. Okay. What happened there? Oh, what happened here? Oh, it shows up here though, Makan. I see it here. Okay. I see it on my keynote. I think this streaming. Huh? The channel. I'm not. I got kicked out. I did. Oh my God. Oh, my Discord. Oh shoot. Hold on. Okay, I think sorry about that. All right, there we go. Join the stage, global stage.
No, not global stage, global after party.
Global after party. Okay. Am I there? Share screen. Make selection. Entire screen. Okay. Do you see it now? Okay, there we go. So this one's not available to everyone. You can see that it's just if you want an invite, let us know. But basically, we do have an AI functionality now that it's not going to be available if you download the app. But for example, you can use, let's say, I'm just going to say dietary prohibitions. And it gives you all of the content that's related to that. So it gives you like verses and footnotes and appendices, and that's it. That one's inshallah next year is going to be hopefully Makan available, but we'll see how that goes. Got a wedding coming up. So before we close this, I do want to give a shout out to the people, mashallah, that helped us along the way. Evan, rising talent, is a great dancer, by the way. If you haven't seen him dance, you should. He helped us helped us with the design for the list experience to and create a new list and populate new lists based on topics. And Amir, mashallah, he helped us before we actually started building a new app. So he did a lot of work prior to this application. Hassan and LP, mashallah, they've been helping with the bot, with the AI. So a lot more work is coming, for them soon. Wamid, mashallah, helped us with the bookmarking experience in the past. Noah also helped us. Zeb, mashallah, did a lot of coordination with ticketing to making sure like we're actually working uh, efficiently. And then we had a lot of testers to do QA and more. Shariar, Shazia, um, Q, Human, Aaron Sherman, Shabnam. Actually, Aaron and Shabnam, God bless you guys. You did a lot of work cross-referencing the database with the Turquoise Quran. Yunus, Jamal, Adam, Hossein, Amir Hossein, Omar, Karim, Shirin, they helped with Arabic. Farnak Niazmandi. They did a lot of, mashallah, they put in a lot of hours, so God bless you all. And mashallah, QMARS, he helped us to finally publish the app on the nonprofit organization. So in the App Store, we do have a nonprofit organization that, God willing, from now on, all of the apps that are going to be related to the nonprofit, they're going to be shown up in the App Store. And as Makan wanted, special thanks to Rabia. She let Makan borrow her laptop, so he did a lot of work. And if it wasn't, I guess, because of the laptop that he purchased Rabia, he probably wouldn't have built this. So he's done a lot, and as a token of appreciation, I found an unclaimed candy. I'm gonna inshallah give it to you, God willing. So thank you all. And one last thing, these are the QR codes. So if you have an Apple device, just scan it, use your camera and zoom in, scan the QR code for Apple. And for Shabnam, we have an Android code now. So as the only Android user, She gets the and Eddie too. Yeah, Eddie, Android, right there. We got you. Got yeah. Sorry, I'll go. Have any questions, feedback? Please let us know. We're God willing, we're gonna improve it even more. There's more updates that are coming on. Inshallah, we're gonna be God willing focusing on the bot. There are more styling changes. We're gonna add, God willing, more themes. We're gonna add submitter perspective, audios, and videos. So for the AI, inshallah, all of that will be supported and login. What is it? For oh my god. All right.
Makan?
No, no, he's nice.
Okay, mashallah. God bless you. Thank you. Okay, let's move swiftly on because God bless you, Alfie. That was really interesting. Okay, next up is Ikra. Big round of applause for Ikra. He's going to come up on stage and give his speech. MashaAllah. We have to plug him in, so bear with us. We're plugging everybody in from now on, apparently. Okay, mashallah. So we have the lapel mics.
Sorry, please. You want clean from there. You have some pictures too that aren't on here? No, no, no. No, no, no. It's just. You know, take care. Yeah. You're just asking.
Oh yeah, no.
This is long. Here the Mike is just his one. What do you got? That's too much.
So, mashallah, next after Ikra, just in case you are not looking at the schedule, we still have a few speeches. Inshallah, we're going to have a little bit later than written in the schedule, but we have Sarah Kamrad with Our Most Ardent Enemy. Before that, we have Sharia Ahmed talking about getting married and everything you ever wanted to know but were too afraid to ask. Looking forward to that one. And before that, as mentioned, we have Ikra, who is making his way to the stage. A big round of applause for Ikra.
Speak?
Yeah, yeah. Alright, for sure. Alright, for sure, yeah. Uh, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Huh? Uh, life is full of decisions, but the most important one we'll ever make this. Do we choose to be with God or not? The Quran reminds us that guidance is a choice. God never forces us. 1829 says, then whoever wills, let him believe, and whoever wills, let him disbelieve. Every moment we're deciding where we stand. Let's talk about why choosing God consciously, wholeheartedly is the best. Huh? Is the best decision we can make. Huh? Yeah. And by the way, this is an AI photo of me. Agenda. We're doing introduction. What's the definition of decision? The importance of making decisions. Either submitting willingly or submitting unwillingly. Stamp. Believers versus disbelievers. A reward. Righteousness versus wickedness. God's decision prevails. No one can abrogate God's decisions. And conclusion. Wise decisions versus wishy-washy decisions. What's the definition of decision? This is me deciding which door to come through from the conference doors. Decision is a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. Two, the importance of making decisions, submitting willingly or submitting unwillingly. We know that God is doing everything. So what is our role? What do? We do only one thing: the decision to be with God or to be with Satan. After that, God takes over. The decision to submit is already done. The choice is to willingly submit or unwillingly submit. For example, people who don't believe in God are still submitting to God, except they're submitting unwillingly. God runs everything. God wants his creations to be free as far as decisions are concerned until the day of judgment. Then, on the day of judgment, everyone will submit willingly, including the people who refuse to submit to him willingly in this life, but it will be too late for them. All creation has submitted to God. 13:15. So God prostrates everyone in the heavens and the earth, willingly or unwillingly, and so do their shadows in the mornings and the evenings. Footnote 13:15. Even the disbelievers prostrate, they cannot, for example, control their heartbeat, their lungs, or peristalsis. The shadows are predetermined by God's design of the solar and lunar orbits, and by the peculiar shape of the planet Earth, which causes the four seasons. The absolute precision of the sun-Earth relation is proven by the invention of solar clocks and their shadows. 1648. Have they not seen all the things created by God? Their shadows surround them right and left, in total submission to God and willingly. One decision: to be with God or to be with Satan. God did not leave the human being without preparation. To help the humans in their final chance to reconsider their blasphemy, every person is born with instinctive knowledge that God alone and no one else is our Lord and Master. 172 to 173. The Quran provides a detailed map towards perfect happiness for both body and soul, both in this world and in the eternal hereafter. Appendix 15. The religious duties instituted by God are in fact a great gift from Him, and they constitute the nourishment required for the growth and development of our souls. Without such nourishment, we cannot survive the immense energy associated with God's physical presence on the day of judgment. Belief in God does not by itself guarantee our redemption. We must also nourish our souls. 158, 1090 to 92. Additionally, 1599 states that observing the religious duties instituted by God is our means of attaining certainty. Worship your Lord in order to attain certainty. Religious duties gift from God. In addition to their invaluable spiritual benefits, there's a plethora of physical, economic, and health benefits from observing the contact prayer salats, obligatory charity zakat, fasting during the month of Ramadan and Hajj. Every day our lives are loaded with decisions to make. The single most important one is whether we will worship God alone, follow his commandments, and strive in his cause, or listen to the whispers of our most ardent enemy, Satan. And the beautiful thing is that if we choose correctly here, every other decision is a piece of cake. 1697. Anyone who works righteousness, male or female, while believing, we will surely grant them a happy life in this world, and we will surely pay them their full recompense on the day of judgment for their righteous works. 1719. As for those who choose the hereafter as their priority and work righteousness while believing, their efforts will be appreciated. 1976. God augments the guidance of those who choose to be guided. For the good deeds are eternally rewarded by your Lord and bring far better returns. But it's not a one-time decision and it's done. We can't just say, I believe in God alone, and think that we're saved. We're constantly faced with making the correct decision. The decision is to worship God alone, under all circumstances, in order to be happy. Stamp, believers versus disbelievers. Appendix 14, predestination. Shoot. We learn from 5722 that our lives, along with everything else around us, are pre-recorded on something like a videotape. God fully knows what kind of decision each of us is destined to make. He knows which of us are going to heaven and which are going to hell. Even before we were born into this world, God knew which souls are good and which souls are evil. As far as God's omniscience is concerned, we can imagine a stamp on everyone's forehead that says, heaven or hell. Yet, as far as we are concerned, we are totally free to side with God's absolute authority or Satan's polytheistic views. Predestination, therefore, is a is a fact as far as God is concerned, not as far as we are concerned. I'm not going to say these verses, but I'll mention them. 41:45 and 42:14 exhibit it. Humans freely choose, decides their paths. 10:101 say, look at all the signs in the heavens and the earth. All the proofs and all the warnings can never help people who decided to disbelieve. Everyone sees hell. 1971. Every single one of you must see it. This is an irrevocable decision of your Lord. Footnote 1971. As detailed in Appendix 11, we will be resurrected to God's physical arrival to our universe. That will be a temporary taste of hell, since the absence of God is hell. When God comes, 89:22, the righteous will be rescued. 37:21. This is the day of decision that you used to disbelieve in. 44:40. The day of decision awaits them all. 40 years grace period. The human being is given 40 years to study, look around, reflect, and examine all points of view before making this most important decision to uphold Satan's point of view or God's absolute authority. Anyone who dies before the age of 40 is chosen by God for redemption due to circumstances known only to God. Anyone who dies before the age of 40 goes to heaven. 46:15, Appendix 32. God's immense mercy is evident from the fact that even those who believe in the Quran find it difficult to accept such a compassionate divine law. The age of decision, 46:15. We enjoin the human being to honor his parents. His mother bore him arduously, gave birth to him arduously, and took intimate care of him for 30 months. When he reaches maturity and reaches the age of 40, he should say, my Lord, direct me to appreciate the blessings you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and to do the righteous works that please you. Let my children be righteous as well. I have repented to you. I am a submitter. Here, footnote 46:15. God knows full well who deserves to go to heaven and who deserves to go to hell. It is his law that whomever he puts to death before the age of 40 shall go to heaven. God's immense mercy is reflected in the fact that most people have difficulty accepting this divine mercy. They argue, put them in hell. See Appendix 32. Reward, righteousness versus wickedness. Righteousness. 13:11. Shifts of angels take turns, staying with each one of you, there in front of you and behind you. They stay with you and guard you in accordance with God's commands. Thus, God does not change the condition of any people unless they themselves make the decision to change. If God wills any hardship for any people, no force can stop it, for they have none beside him as Lord and Master. Believe for your own good. 39:7. If you disbelieve, God does not need anyone, but he dislikes to see his servants make the wrong decision. If you decide to be appreciative, he is pleased for you. No soul bears the sins of any other soul. Ultimately, to your Lord is your return. Then he will inform you of everything you have done. He is fully aware of their innermost thoughts. Wickedness. Oh. The disbelievers, 2:6. As for those who disbelieve, it is the same for them. Whether you warn them or not warn them, they cannot believe. Footnote 2:6-7. Those who make a decision to reject God are helped in that direction. They are prevented by God from seeing any proof or guidance for as long as they maintain such a decision. The consequences of such a disastrous decision are spelled out in verse 7. Next verse 2:7, God seals their minds in their hearing and their eyes revealed. They have incurred severe retribution. When God's decision prevails, no one can abrogate God's decisions. 11:119, only those who bless with mercy from your Lord will not dispute the truth. This is why he created them. The judgment of your Lord has already been issued. I will fill hell with jinns and humans altogether. Footnote 11:119. The most merciful has created us on this earth to give us yet another chance to denounce our original crime and to be redeemed. See the introduction and Appendix 7. Footnote to 11:119. God does not put a single person in hell. They choose and insist upon going to hell. 78:37. Lord of the heavens and the earth and everything between them, the most gracious, no one can abrogate his decisions. Conclusion. Wise decisions versus wishy-washy decisions. Wise decision. 924. Proclaim. If your parents, your children, your siblings, your spouses, your family, the money you have earned, a business you worry about, and the homes you cherish are more beloved to you than God and his messenger, and the striving in his cause, then just wait until God brings his judgment. God does not guide the wicked people. Footnote 924. Since the odds are overwhelming against any human being to actually believe and devote the worship to God alone, 12103, 106, it is virtually impossible to see a whole family believe. Thus, most believers have been faced with a choice either me or God and his messenger. This choice is consistently stated by spouses of the believers, or their parents, their children, etc. Consistently, the believers make the right choice. This is a mandatory test for all believers. 29.2. Wishy-washy decision. A lot of it. Huh? Oh, shoot. 3:177. Those who choose disbelief instead of belief do not hurt God in the least. They have incurred a painful retribution. 6:110. We control their minds and their hearts. Thus, since their decision is to disbelieve, we leave them in their transgressions, blundering. 9:106. Others are waiting for God's decision. He may punish them or he may redeem them. God is omniscient, most wise. 10:33. This is what your Lord's decision does to those who choose to be wicked. They cannot believe. Common form of idolatry, the ego as a god. 45:23. Have you noted the one whose god is his ego? Consequently, God sends a master despite his knowledge, seals his hearing and his mind, and places a veil on his eyes. Who then can guide him after such a decision by God? Would you not take heed? 64:5. Have you noted those who disbelieved in the past, then suffered the consequences of their decision? They incurred a painful retribution. 65:9. They suffered the consequences of their decisions, a profound loss. Our decision. God guides the believers. 10:9. As for those who believe and lead a righteous life, their Lord guides them. By the virtue of their belief, rivers will flow beneath them in the gardens of bliss. 39:61. And God will save those who have maintained righteousness. He will reward them. No harm will touch them, nor will they have any grief. In the New Testament, Matthew 6:31 to 34 says, "Stop worrying then over questions like what are we to eat, or what are we to drink, or what are we to wear?" The disbelievers are always running after these things. Your heavenly Father knows that all you need. Seek his kingship over you, his way of holiness, and all these things will be given to you. Enough of worrying about tomorrow. Let tomorrow take care of itself. Today has troubles enough of its own. I would like to conclude my speech by saying that we need to make an important decision of being with God, and we will attain God's promised victory as stated in this verse, 32:17. You have no idea how much joy and happiness are waiting for you as a reward for your righteous works. Heaven or hell, thank you and God bless. Huh?
Thank you, Ikra.
Oh,
Well
shoot.
done.
Yeah.
Mashallah. Okay, we will be moving on to the next speech. We have Sharia from San Jose Community.
I'm holding a mic. I thought I'm getting. No, not holding a mic. There's no more holding mics, please. People, we were getting constant complaints that the volume's been like volume going up and down. No.
Okay, and Sharia is going to be talking about all things marriage. All those questions that we don't like to ask.
We don't have like.
He's mic'd up. He's ready to go. It is Sharia.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Yes? No? Maybe? More? Oh, this is a little loud. Okay. So, there comes a moment in every young man's life where he thinks, I need 33 more pillows on my bed. What's that? Oh, I can't walk around. If you, then marriage may be for you. Uh, if you think you're at that stage of your life where you desire apologizing for something that wasn't your fault, then marriage might be for you.
If you ever wanted to pull out the equivalent of a small woodland creature in hair out of your shower drain, then marriage might be for you. And the ladies, if you ever felt the need to repeat yourself for 6 months, to tell someone to do something and it never gets done, then you might be ready for marriage. If one day you wake up and you figure that, listen, I want to spend the rest of my life figuring out dinner for 2 people forever, then you're ready for marriage. And if you think that you want to point out obvious things to someone that are literally in front of their face, then you're ready for a husband. So now what? You have decided that you wanted all these things. At the right time, God will put someone who's the right person for you in your path, in your life. Then there'll be some magic will happen and you'll be like, hi, and then you're ready to drain your bank account. So for the purposes of my speech, I'm going to assume that the individuals involved are of age and are in a position to get married, meaning he has a source of income and is able to support a wife and family. This is not about curbing dating. Okay, what does the Quran tell us? There are 2 requirements: love and dowry. Chapter 4, verse 24. And I'm just going to read this section that is relevant. Thus, whoever you like among them, you shall pay them the dowry decreed for them. And then the Messenger of the Covenant emphasizes, God tells you, and I think this is direct quote, whether it's paraphrased, but I think I got it directly from the video. God tells you, if you love the person, then you get married. God says that if this is the person intended for you, God will put love in your hearts, 30:21. So the first requirement before ever becoming intimate is love. You must love each other very well, and you must be in love with each other. So this emphasis is on really getting to know each other, your habits, your principles, your temper, because you have to spend the rest of your life with this person. So you cannot let a little bit of physical attraction, sometimes even a little bit of lust, dictate such an important decision. What does the messenger says? Love before intimacy. God's wisdom dictates that both men and women love each other, as opposed to using marriage for political reasons, for business trades, for interfamilial peace offerings, and various other purposes. Throughout history, this has happened, and more often than not, women suffer in these trades, in these deals. This is why there is an overemphasis on loving the person, spending the time, get to know them, know their habits. You really have to make that decision based on a lot of information. And then there's the importance of the dowry. So the other requirement, besides love, is having a dowry in place. This signifies that the man is in a position to be a bread earner, and both parties want this marriage to happen. Now, I don't want to get into amounts and how much is appropriate, how much is right. The rich as he can, the poor as he can. That's a different conversation. That's figure it out. So now that love is in place, dowry is in place, what do we do? 421 talks about how could you take it back after you've been intimate with each other and they had taken from you a solemn pledge. There has to be a pledge involved. Just because here's the dowry, I love you, we live together, it doesn't work that way. This is vows. We know this as vows. There's other parts of the world they'll do other things, but there's some kind of a formal ceremony, if you would. Doesn't need to have government papers. At least there has to be recognition, government recognition, family recognition, societal recognition, community recognition. So everybody's favorite word, katb kitab, What is that? It's an official marriage. It's getting married officially. And the messenger even says, you are husband and wife. And the messenger emphasizes this. You're not going to introduce somebody who you got married to as your fiance. You'll be like, this is my wife, this is my husband. And you make this pledge after you come to a conviction that you want to spend the rest of your life with this person. So there's a line drawn in the sand. This is now your husband, this is now your wife. And then you make a pledge and then intimacy. So once the pledge is made, love is established, dowry is given, pledge has been made, you can be intimate. Appendix 34 confirms this. It says, this means, and I'm just reading the excerpt, this means staying virgin until their wedding night. So the concept of a wedding is acknowledged. This whole process assures that you fulfill love before intimacy. And the messenger firmly imparts this concept. So now I want to get to the very specific thing that we've discussed, we've gone back and forth on, and I'm glad Q asked that question yesterday, that engagement is part of the marriage process, and marriage is a contract, therefore engagement is in a marriage contract, right? That was the question? Okay. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about this very specific thing. Do you have to get married to get engaged so you can get married again? And based on the verses and the audios and the videos I've been listening to, I don't think that that's the case, that is a must. And this is where we get into it. 2236, 237. The subheading says breaking the engagement. 2236 is in the appendix under annulment of marriage. And the verse goes, you commit no error by divorcing the women before touching them or before setting the dowry for them. In this case, you shall compensate them, the rich as he can afford and the poor as he can afford, an equitable compensation. This is a duty upon the righteous. The next verse, 2237, if you divorce them before touching them, but after you set the dowry for them, the compensation shall be half the dowry, unless they voluntarily forfeit their rights, or the party responsible for causing the divorce chooses to forfeit the dowry. To forfeit is closer to righteousness. You shall maintain the amicable relations among you. God is here of everything you do. So you have to have a marriage in place if you're going to annul it. You cannot annul something that doesn't exist, right? The subheading, so after my reading, my research on this, to me, that subheading that says breaking the engagement is expanding the responsibilities of compensation to an engagement. To me, this is an umbrella concept, and this is not unlike other concepts in the Quran. These verses that we just read, 236, 237, they are addressing the exit of a marriage, not how you should enter a marriage. So keep this little point in mind, which I didn't know. I had to look it up. This surah, Surah 2, was revealed before Surah 4, chronologically, which tells us, 424 tells us, love and dowry are required. So I want to address this one point I've heard over and over. This contract guarantees security for the woman. And a Western engagement without a signed-in contract does not provide her any security. My take on this, if an engagement needs to be broken, this is an engagement, I'm talking about a Western engagement. A believing man who has proposed to a believing woman will undoubtedly compensate her as he can afford if they hadn't set the dowry, or half the dowry if they had set it, because the subheading of 2236 demands it. No believing man is going to break off an engagement and say, tough luck, no paperwork in place. The other thing I've not been able to understand is, what do you write in such a contract when you're just starting out? In fact, in a Western engagement, he has already compensated her. We all know, you get down on the knee, marry me, So what if he's given her a $50,000 ring or whatever, something of value, Natasha likes that number. Or a bar of gold. I don't care, I mean, it's something. That's hers to keep. She already has security in her pocket. So if they break it off, he doesn't have to compensate her. She already has something of value in her hands. And then the other thing I've not been able to understand, what is the enforceability of a contract such as this? The dowry has not been set. So what will happen in case of a dispute? What will you say? Well, you have to pay her something. I don't love her. I'm not going to pay her anything. I don't have a number. So you can't do a half of anything. But if they're insincere people and they're not afraid of God to begin with, what will a piece of paper enforce, right? So, and if we're concerned about security, where's his security, right? If they go to court, get officially married, have a piece of paper, she can say, well, I want half of everything that he has because it's official. A court can decree it. We live in a state where there's these marriage laws highly favor women and moms. Where's his security? So the point of it is we're arguing a point that is kind of moot. She already has the security in a Western. I believe there's more security in a Western engagement with a 50,000, 60,000 gold bar, whatever, versus a piece of paper that has no number on it. Now, this is where I want to emphasize. 2234. Those who die and leave wives, their widows shall wait 4 months and 10 days before they remarry. Once their interim is fulfilled, you commit no error by letting them do whatever righteous matters they wish to do. 2235. You commit no sin by announcing your engagement to the women or keeping it secret. God knows that you will think about them. Do not meet them secretly unless you have something righteous to discuss. Do not consummate the marriage until their interim is fulfilled. You should know that God knows your innermost thoughts and observe him. You should know that God is forgiver clement. Widows and divorcees must fulfill their interim period before they can get married, remarried. We agree? 65:1. O you prophet, when you people divorce the women, you shall ensure that a divorce interim is fulfilled. You shall measure such an interim precisely. The footnote says, the divorce's interim, before becoming eligible for remarriage, is a waiting period of 3 menstruations. This ensures that the divorcee was not pregnant. 2228. In 235, how then can these women be engaged within an official marriage when they're not eligible to be remarried until after their interim is fulfilled? There's 2 ways we can look at this. They got engaged, but how could they? Because they have to have a marriage in place and they're not allowed to get married. So that's one option. The other, once their interim is fulfilled, now they can enter an official marriage to fulfill the engagement part of that marriage. Then why aren't they allowed to meet secretly? Her interim is fulfilled. How can they live as husband and wife and not meet secretly? Or are widows and the men who marry them a special class of people who are exempt from falling in love the right way? That's a question I have for you guys. If they're engaged in 2235, they aren't considered remarried. They can't because their interim has not been fulfilled. And obviously, there needs to be a marriage in place for them to consummate it. You can't consummate an engagement. And the part of the verse that says, do not consummate the marriage until their interim is fulfilled, to me, it simply means they can't get married. They can't have that line in the sand until the interim is fulfilled. The marriage is now in place, you can consummate. But they have to pass the interim period before they can get to that stage. But they can't be engaged as per 2:235. So to me, looking at these verses, engagement is a thing. Marriage is a thing. You can get married and get to know the person. I would not call that engagement because of 2 through 35 and 2 through the other verses. So, in conclusion, this is what I take away from this topic, from these verses. Assuming the couple is of age and they are able to earn a living to support a wife and a family, you have to love the person. We can't do political marriages, we can't do business trades, we can't do any other type of marriage except love the person. Man has to be a bread earner. If you want to get married and get to know one another, by all means do so. But you're considered married, not engaged. In fact, there are certain parts of the world where you better do this. There are parts of the world where if you're walking down the street, even if she's your fiancée, you can get questioned and perhaps arrested by the police. I know someone in this room who went through that. So it makes sense to be in a part of the world, yeah, let's do this. This way we don't have to deal with cops. If you want to propose marriage and get to know one another, by all means, as long as you're under supervision, you're not physically intimate, you're not touching one another, it's all well and above board, families know, friends know, communities know, you're getting to know the person, do that. But saying that getting married means getting engaged, it creates confusion. I personally have been confused by a few of these in our masjid. Somebody comes and says, I'm engaged. Next thing they know, they're having a baby. What's going on? And we cannot disregard the concept of a wedding. The messenger talks about this. He specifically refers to this in the appendix. So this is kind of where I'm at with this topic. I know this. I did not know that we were going to have this community discussion about this. This was written months ago. Like I said, I was throwing ideas down on paper to see, am I wrong? Is the idea that you have to get married to get engaged, you can get married, the right idea? And I cannot seem to reconcile it. And I'm sure there'll be lots of discussions this evening, so I will end it on that note.
Thank you, Sharia. Okay, we only have time for one quick question, and it's going to go to Arash. But we are having a discussion later, okay? So inshallah, we can talk more in detail.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Interesting perspective. So just my question to you is, if engagement and marriage are two separate things, how do you reconcile the index referring to 2236 and 2237 as annulment of marriage? So certainly the word marriage is being used, all the while engagement is being referred in the verse.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile not calling that as...
That's actually a great question because, and I think I alluded to it. To me, the subheading is an umbrella concept, right? Obviously, you have to have a marriage in place. These are marriages that happened with no dowry, with no love. There were marriages that took place. Somebody took a pledge and said, we're married husband and wife. And now God is telling you what to do if you're in that situation. That's why it says annulment of this marriage, right? Nothing happened. Go your own ways, annul it. But I'm using the concept of the subheading as the umbrella. I'll give you an example. Actually, here. 781. You practice sex with the men instead of the women. So now, the subheading on that is homosexuality is condemned. Are we going to say that because the verse says it's men only, that women are okay? No, the concept is homosexuality is being condemned. And this is giving us one part of homosexuality, men and men together. But we know women together is also condemned. This subheading tells us that. There's not a single verse in the Quran that says two women together is haram. I look at it that way. I'll give you another example. 596 says, all fish of the sea are made lawful for you to eat. Lobster is not a fish. Octopus is not a fish. We eat them because the concept, the clarification that the messenger gives us in the subheading, all creatures of the sea are lawful to eat. So why do we not apply the same to the to 236 engagement if you have an engagement in place? That's how I reconcile it.
So it is. So you do So then, in that light, so you do see engagement as part of marriage.
I see engagement leading up to marriage. You get engaged. You ask anybody in the world, you get engaged to be married. You're engaged to be married. You're not engaged as married.
So,
I'm
but
not
then I
married.
guess what I'm saying is that the annulment of marriage,
Yeah.
then saying that 2236 and 2237 fall under marriage, then that kind of is not really in harmony with the concept that you're presenting, because the index is referring to the process as the marriage process, hence the word annulment.
Right.
So, but then what I'm understanding from you, you're separating engagement from marriage, although the index includes engagement as part of marriage, hence the usage of the word annulment of marriage. So I mean, we can talk about this
Yeah, we
more. I know
will.
we're limited
Because
on
I
time.
think I don't want to go in circles, because by that logic, homosexuality is only men. By that logic, you should only eat fish, not lobster. And the verses I pointed out about 234 and 235 about the interim, how can you be married when you're not eligible for marriage? Right? You're saying engagement has to be within a marriage. But this woman, who is a divorced woman or a widow, she's not eligible to be married, but she's engaged. So how do you reconcile that? They're not allowed to. That's how I separate it.
Thank you, Sharia. Like I said, we will speak about this later on, so we can talk about it in more detail.
MashaAllah. So we are just moving on to the next speaker, inshallah. We're just getting her mic'd up. It is Sarah Kamrad, and she will be talking about our most ardent enemy. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we would appreciate your listening skills. Knowing where your chin is from your cheek would be amazing.
I don't care. Hello?
And on that note, let's please welcome Sarah.
Clicker. I don't have the clicker. Oh, please. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Testing, testing. Hello? Okay. Okay. Is this loud enough? No. Louder? Is that good? Mike? Okay.
It's on, it's on.
Oh, okay. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. So, the topic of my speech is about how Satan is our most ardent enemy and how that should reflect in the way we treat him, as well as our mindset in our day to day life. Okay. So, Satan being our most ardent enemy is mentioned in 7 different verses in the Quran. He is an ardent enemy because he relentlessly seeks to deceive, tempt, and oppose people, and he's passionately committed to leading people away from truth and righteousness using whatever strategy possible. As we know, Satan hates us. He already knows that he and his troops will be in the lowest pit of hell. And he envies us because we have hope of being redeemed back to God's kingdom while he has no hope. So he wants to take as many of us as he can with him. We must never underestimate Satan's power either. We're up against a very powerful creature. In Surah 4, verse 118, he told God, I'll surely recruit a definite share of your worshippers. As we see, believers are Satan's main target. Additionally, in Surah 38, verses 82 and 83, Satan swore by God's majesty to mislead us all. He said, I swear by your majesty that I will send them all astray, except your worshippers who are devoted absolutely to you alone. When you join the worship of God alone, Satan can't touch you because God puts guards on you that are more powerful than him, and they keep him away. This is why declaring God as your only master is the highest form of freedom, because no one else in the world controls your life or can touch you. Your life gets liberated from all problems, and God guarantees you success in every form. The majority of people on earth readily fulfill Satan's expectations and follow him, but only a few believers, a minority of people, follow God and embrace total submission. There's a Bible verse that says something similar. Matthew 7, verses 13 and 14 say, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." I wanted to also share this Instagram reel that came on my feed, since it's relevant to my topic. A while back, LP also shared something like this in a Quran study as well. Yeah, we'll see if it works. Yeah. Surah 16, verses 99 and 100 also confirm the limits of Satan's power, saying, "He has no power over those who believe and trust in their Lord. His power is limited to those who choose him as their master, those who choose him as their God." Even if we fall into sin and remove ourselves from God's protection, God tells Satan how far he can go with inflicting punishments because he is in control. God is in control. Satan himself acknowledges his powerlessness in Surah 14:22. It says, "And the devil will say, after the judgment had been issued, God has promised you the truthful promise, and I promised you, but I broke my promise. I had no power over you. I simply invited you, and you accepted my invitation. Therefore, do not blame me and blame only yourselves. My complaining cannot help you, nor can your complaining help me. I have disbelieved and you are idolizing me. The transgressors have incurred a painful retribution." This choice between God and Satan's kingdoms depends on whose point of view you side with. God's point of view is that he alone is Lord of the universe without any partners, and there are no other gods beside him. And Satan's point of view is that God alone isn't enough, and there can or must be other gods besides him. If you have any problems whatsoever, this will be your hint that you have made the choice to side with Satan's kingdom somehow. So that's why we always need to be examining our lives to see if our thoughts and actions are in line with God's commandments or not, because it may not always be obvious at first. Once you make the claim that you believe God alone is the Lord of the universe, you start being put to the test to show that it's not just lip service, because God does not accept any wishy-washies. If you show any sign of idol worship and Satan claims you, God will give you to Satan. If you love anything too much, for example, then Satan will claim to God that if he takes it away from you, you would blaspheme against God. If Satan takes it away from you and you pass the test, God would make it up to you twice as much. We have the example of Solomon in the Quran who missed the afternoon prayer because of his horses. So to nullify Satan's possible claim that he loved his horses more than loving God, he himself got rid of the horses. God then rewarded him and answered his prayers by granting him a kingship never attained by anyone else. If you compromise on something even slightly away from God's law, it could lead to Satan capitalizing on this. And like if you sympathize with people who insist on disbelieving even after receiving the message and you make excuses for them, Satan could capitalize on this by saying you're defending an idol worshiper. So everything we do and say means something and holds weight. Everything is being accounted for. One tactic that Satan always uses to mislead us is to take advantage of our unawareness. 1 Peter 5, 8, and 9 in the Bible say, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour." You have to constantly be aware of the greatness of God everywhere you go, because anytime you're unaware, Satan will try to make you forget what your true purpose is and what you should be doing. When you forget God, you forget yourself because your soul needs him. Remembering God frequently is a commandment because this determines whether or not he is really your God, and our religious practices help us do this by God's leave. But Satan knows, for example, that the 5 contact prayers are the fastest way for us to develop our souls. When it's time for the noon prayer and you're doing something else that could wait, your jinn companion is the one telling you to put off doing your prayer so that you'll miss it. In the instance where you don't miss it, Satan still doesn't give up. With the contact prayers specifically, he really concentrates on distracting you while praying. The most important objective of the contact prayers is for you to remember God throughout your day, as we read in Surah 29, verse 45. Regardless of whether your concentration was perfect or not, you are still making contact with God. But it's really important to counteract Satan's efforts and bring your attention back to God. The contact prayers are a form of meditation on God because when you meditate on something, it means that you're setting time aside to give it your full attention. And whenever your mind drifts, you constantly bring your attention back to it as often as necessary. Quran studies are another important example. Satan could distract you from paying attention and benefiting from the knowledge that's being shared by God's leave. So even though you're still attending and frequenting the masjid, you wouldn't be gaining the full benefits of a Quran study. Or while commemorating God, you could be singing God's praises while thinking of something completely different and being totally disengaged or distracted from feeling reverence for God. Commemorating God is what causes us to grow closer and closer to him, as we read in Surah 73, verse 8. So it's a really important form of worship. We want to reap as many benefits from our practices as we can. Reasons like this are why saying Surah 23, verses 97 and 98 is a commandment, and that saying it even 1,000 times a day isn't enough. To be protected from Satan, you say, "My Lord, I seek refuge in you from the whispers of the devils, and I seek refuge in you, my Lord, lest they come near me." When the devil whispers any idea to us at any time, the Quran tells us that we should seek refuge in God, and upon doing that and remembering him, we become seers, we become alert. Also, as Rashad mentioned in one sermon, if you regularly visualize and tell yourself that God is here with you now, how he knows your secrets and is always watching and listening to everything you say and think, you'll become more mindful of your behaviors and choices. This practice will eventually cause your soul to grow and make any devilish thoughts go away. The source of any doubts we may have is our jinn companion, and we're not supposed to let any doubt go undebated in our minds because it will only get worse. So if our companion pushes a bad thought, it's our job to counter with questions and win the argument using the truth. You conquer the doubts before they conquer you. Satan whispers ideas to people in order to entice them step by step until they are led astray down the wrong path. Surah 2, verses 168 and 169 warn us, "Do not follow the steps of Satan. He is your most ardent enemy. He only commands you to commit evil and vice and to say about God what you do not know." There are an inconceivable number of ways in which Satan tries to take us away from God, and you don't always pick up on it until it's gone from something really small to a big issue. Satan's strategy is to start small, white lies, little insurance, seemingly minor compromises, but each compromise is a foothold. I read this book that Stephanie recommended called Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis, and it consists of 31 letters written by a senior devil to his nephew, a younger, less experienced devil, teaching him how to lead a man towards Satan and away from God. The book really illustrated how the devil tries to entice the man gradually and persistently. He's not in a rush, but he's determined and works steadfastly in his own cause. It hit me that this is why the commandment to steadfastly persevere is repeated so many times in the Quran, and it shouldn't be glossed over. If the devil ceaselessly tries to entice you to go astray, coming from before you, behind you, from your right and left, steadfastly pursuing you, then you have to be steadfast right back. Just as persistent, never tiring in worshiping God and remembering Him frequently. It's really like an everyday battle because if you stop fighting, he gains the upper hand. But it gets easier the stronger you become. I've always liked this verse, Surah 47, verse 35. It says, "Therefore you shall not waver and surrender in pursuit of peace, for you are guaranteed victory and God is with you. He will never waste your efforts." When we steadfastly persevere with God's help, we become harder to tempt because we get less dependent on our emotions and acting on them. Like when going through a rough patch, we don't give in to despair and become lax with commandments. We keep going and we don't regress. Or when going through an exciting stage in life, we don't get carried away and distracted. We carry on with our worship practices and keep our thoughts in check. Other matters don't take God's place in our life as the number one priority. As we know, another quality of Satan is that he is a liar. His promises are empty. Surah 17, verse 64 says, "You may entice them with your voice and mobilize all your forces and all your men against them, and share in their money and children, and promise them. Anything the devil promises is no more than an illusion." He encourages you to do all the wrong things, trying to convince you that something good will come out of it, even though it goes against God's commandments, or that it's not as bad as you think. That's what it means for the devil to adorn your works in your eyes. It's wishful thinking to believe the devil's whispers. One of Satan's mechanisms through which he deceives people into idol worship is fear. Surah 3, verse 175 says, "It is the devil's system to instill fear into his subjects. Do not fear them, and fear me instead, if you're believers." Common forms of fear are anxiety and worry, and they have to do with future events. But the devils don't know the future. Only God knows the future and what's going to happen to any person. So understanding this should abolish any anxiety or worry you may ever feel. Any whisper insinuating you should feel anxious or worried is based on nothing because it's made up and it's fake. The source of the whisper doesn't even know what's going to happen. So if you are a submitter, you should only expect good things. Surah 27, verses 10 and 11 say, "O Moses, do not be afraid. My messengers shall not fear, except those who commit a transgression, then substitute righteousness after sinning. I am forgiving, most merciful." If you really accept that only God has the power to do anything, you would only fear God. This is why the understanding of God is doing everything is absolutely essential for you to go to heaven, because you don't really believe in God if you don't believe in all of his qualities. And as we know, believing in God is one of the minimum criteria. Besides trying to instill fear into people, Satan will tempt you with your most urgent needs. If you need money, for example, he may try to tempt you into gambling or committing fraud, all in an attempt to try to take you away from God. There's an excerpt in the Bible about temptation. James 1, 13 through 15 say, "When tempted, no one should say, 'God is tempting me,' for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death." While Satan tempts the believers, God diverts sin and evil away from them, and we see that example in the Quran about Joseph. Just when he almost gave in to his temptations, he saw a proof from God, and that was enough for him to stop himself from committing the sin by God's leave. Genesis 4:7 says, "If you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. So even though God diverts sin away from his servants, it's not like he does all the work for you. He inspires you and helps you to make the best decisions for your soul and exerts some self discipline in these moments, but it's ultimately still your choice to resist or give in. The temptation itself doesn't necessarily disappear until your soul is stronger than your body. Until your jinn companion converts to God's point of view and starts cooperating with you, you will still hear a lot of whispers, but this is all part of the system. Satan is allowed to push his lies. Surah 6, verse 121 says, "The devils inspire their allies to argue with you. If you obey them, you will be idol worshippers." And as the Bible says in James 4:7, "Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." Sometimes our expectations and goals for ourselves are too high to the point where our souls are not strong enough to meet them yet, and that could be discouraging every time you fall short. Satan may even try to make you feel overly guilty about your sins to get you hung up on them. But if you already repented for your mistake, then you have to believe in God's quality of being the forgiver. Even if you take a small step in the right direction, it can be really significant. Like if you struggle with anger, you may go from yelling and cussing people out to maybe trying to at least just keep it in and stay quiet. You may still feel the rage, but you just suppress it. Then, as you grow even more, you learn to respond more calmly and still stand up for your rights, but you're still submitting cheerfully and not feeling the anger anymore altogether. I want to wrap up with Surah 35, verse 6. It says, "The devil is your enemy, so treat him as an enemy. He only invites his party to be the dwellers of hell." The ultimate goal is for you to reach a point where you can work against your ego's desires to do what would please God instead, because likely what your ego wants to do is also what Satan would want you to do. To treat the devil as an enemy means you consistently avoid doing what he wants you to do and make sure that with God's support, the devil's schemes against you stay unsuccessful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Mashallah. All right, we're going to do one very quick question. Does anyone want to ask a question? Anyone? Okay, no questions. We will move on to the next speaker. Thank you, Sarah. Next up is our very own Hanan from Dubai.
Salam alaikum.
Good. The Instagram works. We should get out of that.
Okay, salam alaikum everyone. So thank you very much. They're looking for my slides. So while they're looking for my slides, how are we all doing? MashaAllah. So it's the last speech of the day, I believe. Yes, inshallah, it's the last speech of the day. So I hope that you're still awake for this one. And we know where our... Thank you. Was that Lubna? Thank you, Lubna. Lubna's listening. Okay. Are we good? Yes, this is my one. Thank you so much. It's not about you. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yes, my speech is called "It's Not About You," but just to kind of give some context, the you being you, the body, because when we talk to people in life, it's always with reference to you. Like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you? How's your work going, or whatever else? And yeah, so really it's kind of looking at what you actually means. I remember when I was younger growing up, I used to say to people, if I cut your legs off, sorry, there's children in the room, so like, if I took your legs off and threw them over there, where are you? Here. Okay, so if I then take your arms off and throw them over there, where are you? Then if I take your torso off and throw it over there, where are you? So the question is, who is you? What is you? Where are you? And that's kind of where this kind of, stemmed from. So the real you, as we know by God's grace, is the soul. And I put this verse up. You can't see the verse. I'm going to read them, inshallah. So 2:28, 2 deaths and 2 lives for the disbelievers. How can you disbelieve in God when you were dead and he gave you life? Then he puts you to death. Then he brings you back to life. Then to him you ultimately return. And it's a question. So the verse reveals this profound cycle that we go through, because our soul existed before we did, as we know by God's grace. And our soul enters this body temporarily as a test, and it's here for a while, but then it will leave again when we die and leave this earth. So the body is not actually us, it's not you. The body is not you. The body is just a vehicle, and the messenger of the covenant references the body as a spacesuit, spacesuit, something along those lines. So the soul is the true and the permanent self that will stand before God. Next. The soul's journey. So 84:6. Oh, humans, you are irreversibly heading for a meeting with your Lord. So, no matter how far we run, no matter how busy we get in this worldly life, it is a one-way journey. We get older and then, we stand before God. So, we need to let that meeting be a joyful one. And how do we do that? What are we packing for this journey? Lots of us like to go on holidays. Lots of us, travel, even whether it's locally or abroad. What are we packing in those suitcases, what we're taking with us? It's the same. What are we packing within this body that we've been given? Because all that we take with us is our righteousness in the end. So are we packing lots of righteousness, or are we packing the worldly baggage? Question to ask ourselves. The ego's danger. So kill your ego. Surah 2:54. Recall that Moses said to his people, "O my people, you have wronged your souls by worshipping the calf. You must repent to your creator. You shall kill your egos. This is better for you in the sight of your creator. He did redeem you. He is the redeemer most merciful." So killing the ego isn't destruction. Some people think that they need a bit of ego. Oh, you can do with just a little bit of ego, not too much. There's a nice balance. But actually, killing the ego is liberation. It's liberating. It means that we break the chains that blind us to what God is, who God is, and how God can help us. So it's actually liberating for our souls. It means that we become teachable, we become humble, and we become aware that we are not self sufficient as much as we think that we are. We are not the ones in control, but we do have to make the first step in making the first decision, the first thought of knowing that God is the only one that is in control, and obviously subduing to Him alone. So it starts with the soul's healing, which is where we break that ego, inshallah. The body's distractions. 25:43. The ego as a god. Have you seen the ones whose God, is his own ego? Will you be his advocate? So the egos demand attention, it demands control, it demands pride. But the Quran tells us that the ego is an idol, and it's in one of the, in Surah 2, it's like straight away, as soon as you open the Quran, it's there. So, leading with our ego is dangerous territory. So the soul cannot grow if it's under the ego's rule. So we have to be mindful of dropping that ego, which is a commandment. So the body versus the soul desires. So 57:20, preoccupation with this life is condemned. Know that this worldly life is no more than playing games and boasting among you and hoarding of money and children. It is like abundant rain that produces plants and pleases the disbelievers. But then the plants turn into useless hay and are blown away by the wind. In the hereafter, there is either severe retribution or forgiveness from God and approval. This worldly life is no more than a temporary illusion. I've put this picture of this guy that I actually knew, and he spent 33 million dirhams just on that number plate, having number plate number 5. It's a thing in Dubai. And yeah, 33 million dirhams. It's not that much in dollars. But yeah, his name's Abu Sabah, and he was known as a very kind person, but he was also quite a show off in his worldly status, you know, his life. He was just an Indian businessman, came to Dubai, you know, did lots of business, made lots of money, but then he lost the majority of it. I'm not going to say it all. He lost it all last year, being caught for corruption, fraud, and so on. And he got imprisoned for 5 years, got a hefty fine, I think 150 something thousand, maybe million, I can't remember. And he got deported. So the thing is, in Dubai, what they have is when they throw you in prison, depending on what you're thrown in prison for and who you are, you generally get let out when there's Ramadan or Eid or something. They have, you know, all these celebratory times, and they let people out of prison, but they generally deport them. So he got convicted with 5 years imprisonment, but yeah, he got let out and sent back to India and not allowed to come back to the UAE. But the point of me sharing his picture is just because I knew him personally, and everyone that would meet him would say he's such a lovely guy, he's so nice. But it reminds us of the story of Karun, who come out with all his splendor, and he used to do that. He'd drive around like in his number 5 Rolls Royce. He'd turn up, and he'd always, you know, always got like his animals with him or whatever. Yeah, so he would show off, but all that status and all of that money didn't help him when it came to being found out. And it's the same, that's the ego. His ego drove him through corruption and fraud that he was doing. And we know that even amongst us, like, I kind of look at this in the same way that we have hypocrites. They will eventually be exposed. Yeah, God will expose those. So that's why there's the verse that says about not looking at these people and kind of, you know, looking up to them, that there's something special. Even those who maybe say really, like, they sound really good when they're speaking, you know, we shouldn't like idolize them. We shouldn't look at them and think anything more of them, because we know that for us it's about saving our neck in this worldly life. Yeah, so God tells us in this verse, just very quickly, that the all of the destructions, and in the end of the day, these all decay, these all go away, all of this, whether you have millions or the best business in the world, whatever you have, abundance of, you know, land, children, whatever it is, but it's all provisions from God, but it all just goes away at the end. The only thing that we take back is our righteousness. So it's all about feeding the body, sorry, not feeding the body and starving the soul. It's about feeding the soul and not feeding this illusion of life that we think is something spectacular. Not us, them. All right, so what happens at death? 3:169. Do not be impressed by the apparent success of the disbelievers. I didn't even know I had that slide up, just what I talked about. But so yeah, so death is not actually the end, as we know, by God's grace. The righteous do not experience the true death. We just move from phase to phase. We transition into a new life with God. So it's nothing to be fearful of, like this world kind of, you know, there's this fear of dying. For us, God willing, if we know that we are strengthening our soul, we're growing, inshallah, we know that we just transition by God's growth, by God's grace. And this really kind of shows us how important it is to ensure that we are growing in our soul, because our soul is the one that continues. Next, the soul's happiness, happiness now and forever. So this is 1062 through to 1064. I'm not reading the footnotes if you haven't noticed. So absolutely, God's allies have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. They are those who believe and lead a righteous life. For them, joy and happiness in this world as well as in the hereafter. This is God's unchangeable law. Such is the greatest triumph. So this is the Quranic definition of happiness, and this is also our worldly understanding of how we attain happiness. And we've heard it through some of the speeches already. But it's not a feeling, it's a condition that we have. It's a condition of our soul. We build our soul, then in this worldly life, things will go smoothly. We will be happy. So righteousness, faith, and sincerity are the anchors of the soul in joy, both now and in eternity, inshallah. God's invitation, 1025. God invites to the abode of peace and guides whomever he wills in a straight path. So the soul longs for peace, like we see in this worldly life, people going on these journeys of soul searching or trying to find happiness, or, and I see things on social media that talk about this. One thing I saw the other day actually that said, depending on certain aspects of yourself, there's a place in the world that is meant for you to live in, like a country in the world or a city, and it's where you'll get the best sleep. So maybe you live in England and you don't really adapt well with the time, and so you're sleeping really late and you're waking up like at ridiculous times. Maybe you'll be better off in the US where the time is different, so for your body clock, so things like that. But we know it's all about being at peace, and being at peace comes with being with God, and God invites us to peace. God is always there. The doors are open. It doesn't matter where you are in your life. It doesn't matter what you've done. God is there right now, literally, in this room with us, and God is always there. And every day for us, by God's grace, is a new day. When we open our eyes and wake up in God's kingdom, starting with God's name, then that's a new day for us. That's a new day to remove all the things that have gone on in the past and start afresh. And then every Friday, Jumu'ah as well, that time that we spend together, worshipping and repenting by God's grace. So a life of submission is not one of hardship, but it is one of peace and clarity. So God is not far, and God is always there inviting. Inshallah. God's mercy, 427. God wishes to redeem you, but, typo. But while those who pursue their lusts wish that you deviate a great deviation. So with this verse, as we see, there are always people around us who don't want the best for us. And we have to be mindful of that. So this verse contrasts God's mercy with the soul's enemies. God wants to pull us out of the darkness, but there are people who want to kind of keep us there, maybe to make themselves feel better because they can't see God's mercy, they can't understand it. But we have to recognize who wants to be around us to help us saving our soul. Even though it is about saving your own neck, being around the righteous believers, you're going to be encouraged to do righteous works. We're going to be encouraged to, look at what we're doing. I always think like when we have, maybe like for me personally, like I have a lot of friends outside of submission. I say a lot. It's probably about 3 that I talk to. But when it comes to certain topics, that I've learned that I only speak to submitters. Because if I speak to people that don't understand the way that we think, their advice is not really, one of like with kind of soul growth. Their advice is all about this worldly life. Like I have, like even when I'm coaching, like I do life coaching, and people come to me with their dramas. Some of them it's a bit like I'm very straightforward. Consistent. Correctly, consistency. I'm consistent in my straightforwardness. Need to work on it a little bit. But yes, I'm quite consistent. So I always say in life coaching, I'm not like any other life coach you'll meet. I don't write anything down and I don't repeat myself. And if you hear something that you don't like, it's because I've touched a nerve on something you need to work on. And I still get clients by God's grace. So yeah, so sometimes people do need to hear kind of straightforward talk, like, and I'm a person that doesn't mind it, but I have to be mindful amongst the community that some people are sensitive. Okay, but yes, we need to make sure that we are keeping those around us who are going to give us good advice, who are going to give us righteous advice, and not getting lost in this worldly life. Okay, 89:23. On that day, Gehenna will be brought forth. On that day, the human being will remember. But what a remembrance! It will be too late. So we don't want to wait for that day for it to be too late, because reflection after death has come, it's too late. It's not gonna help you, because yeah, it's gone. So we need to prepare our souls now. We need to feed it with all the clarity that God has given us in the Quran: prayer, charity, reflection, repentance, and more repentance, God willing. The day of judgment is not just a metaphor; it is a reality, and we have enough clarification for that. And it basically will come. So, are we prepared for it? And then taking care of the soul, practical steps by God's grace. I'm sure we are all fully aware of these things: observing our contact prayers, giving to charity, leading a righteous life, and remembering God frequently. But these are just like some of the commandments. There are so many more, being truthful. And again, we've heard them throughout the speeches: being truthful, being straightforward. Maybe not as straightforward as me, but and these are not burdens. These are almost like minerals and vitamins for the soul. So God gives us everything that we need in the Quran, because submission is a journey. It's not. It's actually a lifestyle that we should lead and live. There's so many books out there that talk about how to be this character or how to be this person. We have it all in the Quran, how we need to be, and we have enough stories in the Quran to reflect on if we're going through something that there's always God always has the answer for us. Mashallah. Da, da, da. Closing reflection. 49 seconds. 82:19. That is the day when no soul can help another soul, and all decisions on that day will belong to God. So remember, we have no intercession, we have no excuses, and we have no help. The soul will stand alone on that day, as we all know. So the question is what will you build now to face that day? For then, what are you packing in your luggage to take with you? Because we know it's only our righteousness. So, what part of our righteousness are we working on to grow our soul? Because everything of this worldly life is not going to help. And my last slide: purpose of life. It's just a reminder, as we all know, 51:56. I did not create the jinns and the humans except to worship me alone. The purpose of our existence there is the header. So worship in the Quran. So it's not just rituals, it's life lived in awareness, humility, faith, truth, and devotion. So everything we do must be connected to God. So we can live in this worldly life, but just remember that God is the one who provides for us and leads us on the right path by his grace. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanan. Mashallah.
Oh, we've run out of time for questions. Our purpose prayer
No, we have a
time.
full 5 minutes. Stay right there.
Wow.
Okay.
What's that? Why did it say 17 minutes? No.
We have Ali from LA community.
Assalamu
Thank you.
alaikum.
Great speech. Salam alaikum.
Praise God.
As a life coach, how do you integrate Quranic concepts and ideas when you're talking to your people?
Okay, so as I mentioned, if you don't know me, I am very straightforward. So, as I mentioned, when I do life coaching, I am very just like I don't work with people who just find me online. I work with people through recommendations because of the way I life coach. And as I said, I am very much straightforward. I always tell people about God. I always tell people about their own egos. A lot of people that come to life coaching are talking about this person did this and this person did that. And I always bring it back to, well, what did you do to deserve that? And I'm not shy to do that. So, yeah, praise God. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions?
No, of course not. Thank you. Oh,
Eddie, of course.
No, don't give him the mic. All right. So I tease Eddie because if you listen to our Quran studies, the Dubai channel on Mondays and Fridays, between Eddie and Mohammed on some days, like that's all I'm going to say. Some days. Assalamu alaikum, Eddie.
Assalamu alaikum. That was okay. You did okay.
Thanks. Okay's good. I'm happy with okay.
So you spoke about ego.
Mhm.
I wanted to get your perspective. When you talk to people who are not submitters, I know you don't beat around the bush, you're straightforward, but sometimes you might ruffle ego. And me and you and the people in here, they know what we know what genuinely ego is, but people who are not submitters, they don't think they have ego. So how do you explain? How do you go about telling them I'm ruffling up your feathers, your ego's bruised, and because the first answer usually is I don't have an ego about it. So how do you?
It's
How,
quite easy to yeah, show
gently.
people
I
their
know you got to
egos.
do it gently, right? With wisdom.
I don't know how to do gently. Right. That's why I have this word consistency. I'm consistent in my straightforwardness, and I do need to work on it because I need to understand that some people are sensitive. But in my life coaching, I am just very straightforward, and which is why I only work through recommendations. So people will come to me knowing I will probably make them cry, but not on purpose, but through telling them truths that they maybe don't want to hear, don't want to acknowledge, which is generally about their ego. Exactly. And it's generally hurting their ego, but I will explain that to them that you're feeling this way because I've touched a nerve, something that maybe you need to reflect on. And yeah, as I said, that's what I do.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. So
What is a life coach? So can I answer that? I don't know who asked it. Yeah, who's she? Ah, Assalamualaikum. So life coaching is where people think they need to speak to someone to help them in their life. Basically, I know I shouldn't take, but coaching is just a thing. I studied it maybe 20 years ago, when I was still living in London. And yeah, it's just a thing. People just come and it's basically giving people advice on their lives. But some coaches work with people for like a year, 2 years. I have a cutoff point. I have 3 months, and bye bye. Like I'm not your crutch. That's what I say to people. I'm not your crutch. So you need to change and find your changes and yeah, live your life. Okay, I think we're done now. Where are you going?
we are done, yes, but I have
mashallah.
some announcements, so
Ah,
please stay seated. Give me
mashallah.
1
Thank you so
second.
much.
Okay. All right. So the first announcement is that we have found a silver bracelet. It is a female, it's a woman's bracelet. It has some flowers on it. I'll hold it up.
It's mine. No.
Yeah, so this is the bracelet. If this belongs to anyone, is that yours? Okay, I see. Okay, I will return this to you. Thank you.
$5. $5 finder's fee. Goes to the masjid.
And the next announcement is that we will be praying at 25 past. So you have 10 minutes to do your ablution and sort yourselves out and get yourselves there in 10 minutes, please. Thank you. And afterwards, we will be taking a group photo after the prayer. It's on your schedule.
So from Qurrat Al Ain and myself, thank you. for allowing us to be your MCs today. MashaAllah.
Question. We'll find out. Everyone, don't leave. One more announcement. One more announcement. Don't leave. Don't leave. But 1 second. Bushra, where's the photo taking place? Here or outside? Here. The photo will be taking place in this room after the prayer. In this room. Thank you. At 25 past, and after we're doing a wish closure. Oh, yes, yes, yes. But after where it is, and I wasn't sure I did it. Good job.
And the vision. Where's the vision? Testing, testing, testing. So just talk like this. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yeah. Okay, but last be careful, okay? Don't do it forward. Careful. Oh, you can't. No. Can't have a mic. You can just do it without a microphone. Do it without a microphone. Oh, that you can do. As long as your mom's here, you can do it. What do you want to say? How to turn. You said mashallah? Say it again. Mashallah. Got a team. Under the sea, under the sea. Under the sea, under the sea. Under the sea. Again. Mashallah. Under the sea, under the sea. The sea, Hello?
the sea, under the sea.
Under the sea, under the sea, under the
If you can
sea.
just do one more announcement really quickly, as soon as prayer is done, guys, stay here because this is where we're taking the picture immediately.
Said that announcement.
Say it one more time.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Under
Don't
the
forget,
sea.
pictures are in this room after prayer, so just stay here. Okay? Don't go to the rooms. Pictures in this room.
Sea, under the sea. God, God, God.
Jackson.
Inshallah. Under the sea, under the sea.